Yo, we're back. We are back again, right? Again, and we will keep coming back until total extinction. That's the only thing that will stop me. Total extinction and the end of all suffering. Okay, yeah, we had a pretty good stream last time, actually, so let's get some more positive stuff going, some more action. Hello, Bob. How's it going? Thanks for the support. Appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to focus on more ownage today, annihilating more people in debates. If you've been watching my streams, you might see that, I'd like to think I am getting better at the debates. I am getting closer to annihilating people, insta-killing them in the debates, basically. So, continue with the journey with us as we delve deeper into the minds and the addled brains of pro-lifers as we dissect their beliefs, their thoughts. So it really is seeming like one of the biggest sort of common crazy things that pro-lifers have stuck in the brain is that we should never care unless it's everybody suffering. So I was just looking at my my top video, which has gone viral again. And the top comment is, against extinction. And it says, not everybody is suffering though. So, again, by that logic, everybody could be screaming for death and you would still say it's not everybody, as long as you're the last person. It really is a disgusting lack of morality that people don't even realize they have. So that's when they say, when they say it's not everybody, though, they don't realize how incredibly disgusting that is to say. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So, well, you're advocating for, just the human race kind of ceasing existence, I would assume.
No, animals, humans, everything. So we want the fairest extinction possible, and that means helping those that can't help themselves first. So animals, they can't do their own extinction, and unless we do it for them, they'll keep suffering for millions of years. So yeah, we should help animals, we should help all life possible, and we should make the world uninhabitable as well. So the pro-extinction movement isn't just about rushing the extinction, we want the best extinction possible.
So you want to deal with all the animals before you deal with the people?
Yeah.
But why don't you go and start doing it?
Because unless you do it as a government, then you'll never actually successfully achieve it. So that's the plan, is to grow the movement until we can actually start running the world ethically with suffering-focused ethics and stop allowing all of the suffering and the bad lives, basically.
Well, it just sounds like you should practice what you preach, man. Go down to the animal shelter, get a few dogs, gas them.
Yeah, again, that doesn't lead to extinction, though, does it? So you would see yourself use
arguably it does.
You
would have to start somewhere.
It obviously doesn't, right? If you start somewhere like that, then you will never actually finish.
Well, that just sounds like your own inability to actually do it.
Really? So you think one person can wipe out an entire species?
Depending on the species, yeah.
Yeah, you sound like a genius, Mike. Yeah, you sound really smart. Yeah, one person can wipe out billions of animals. Yeah, you're a genius, aren't you? Some people do, unfortunately, have mental disabilities despite coming up onto the show. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, mate, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
All right, I've got a question. What about... Okay, so suffering is obviously not a good thing. That's just a generic statement. But what if we could sort of bridge a solution by minimizing the suffering that we currently have instead of going full extinction? Because for me, my understanding is even if we wipe out all of the species on our planet, on planet Earth, we still kind of have this position and the current laws of the universe, if we were talking about physics, if we're talking about Darwin's basically we're still gonna, even if we go full extinction, that means that in, I don't know, billions of years, humanity will still exist. Maybe not in the same form,
This doesn't.
but
I'm not understanding what you're talking about.
so basically, if we get wiped out, we're still like species are still gonna exist in the
Well, no.
universe.
So the pro-extinction movement is not for doing a partial extinction or rushing it, like I was just trying to say. We are working towards the best extinction possible. So making sure life doesn't come back and doing, essentially the best case scenario would be a universe with no life and no possibility of life ever again. So we will do that or more or just whatever that we can actually achieve. But until we try, there's no way to know what is possible. So we have to actually do the science, determine how much extinction we can do.
So you mean not just across our planet, but like in the universe, like in general, you're talking, or
Yeah.
okay, so
So,
that's
for example,
interesting.
if we can't do beyond Earth, then we'll just do Earth. But if we can, then we should.
That's interesting because I do agree, and I think AI will be one of the ways to do that. Do you think that AI, if it ever becomes conscious, will um, feel or perceive suffering the way we do?
Yeah. Well, when you say we do, right? Most humans see suffering as something to laugh at and joke about. So I would hopefully it'll see it the way that extinctionists do, like as unacceptable, right?
But do you think all suffering is equal?
No, but it's
So,
still all unacceptable though.
like all kinds of suffering?
Well, the thing is that you're asking if we can, leave some of the suffering and have some of it. It doesn't
Mhm.
work like that. You either disallow all suffering or you allow all suffering. So you can't have your cake and eat it, I'm afraid.
But why is it all black and white? I think that, like, if you perceive, for instance,
Because
hunger,
that's how the world works, right? You can't limit the potential for suffering. Only naivete would lead you to think that, essentially.
yeah, sure, we still have disease, we still have suffering between humans, so we cause each other harm like every single day, every single second, right?
Well,
But
no, no. So most suffering isn't caused maliciously. It
Mhm.
happens from like nature.
Yeah, that's true as well. So your position is basically to sort of do the research continuously to find the ways how we can sort of go full extinct, like
No,
within.
it's so we're growing the movement until we have enough people to take over the world, start running it ethically, and we could start doing animal extinction immediately. There's no need for like research in order to start
Mhm.
putting animals to sleep. And as we're doing all of this, we can be researching how to prevent life coming back and if we can do beyond Earth. So we have to do it in a practical way, in a rational way, right?
So what do you think the first step should be? So to
Growing the movement
so how do we do that?
with peaceful activism, making videos, educating people.
All right, that does sound reasonable because I can share a personal story if you'd like. So, my girlfriend passed away 2 months ago due to suicide, and that was a that was a changing moment for me because I realized how much suffering there is because like I've never experienced anything like that before, and for me, I kind of lost the not the meaning in life, but I started questioning life. Uh,
The
because
fantasy fell apart, basically. The fantasy
Yep.
collapsed.
Yep. So now I'm kind of trying to figure out what actually holds me there because she's not the only person I lost, and it's just like every day it's just it's really hard for me to see what's going on in the world at any scale. If we're talking war or if we're talking at a smaller scale, like it's just I see the suffering that exists and I can't wrap my mind around it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's like before I perceived like as a kind of like an absurd dance where we suffer, and I was trying to find some meaning in it, but there actually isn't. So
Yeah, and it's not just about meaning, right? If there are people going through lives of pure hell for their entire life, there's no meaning, there's no balance for these people. It's just not fair. And with people that do commit suicide, most of the time, it was probably much worse than you will ever know, right? They're suffering. They probably didn't want to talk about it. They probably, you know, pretended it wasn't that bad so that you didn't feel so bad. So unfortunately, yeah, those who do commit suicide usually actually suffered way worse than anybody will ever know.
yeah, and the worst thing of all is that actually that's not the whole story. It was we were both trying to commit suicide, but I survived and she didn't. So it's
Wow.
just um, and I kind of like I didn't perceive it as, oh, I got a second chance at life. I was actually trying to understand why it happened at first, and then I realized like why it happened, and then someone in the chat actually said, um, yeah, that's weird. Someone in chat said like if you miss her, you can join her, but
Yeah, I've
this is
blocked that guy. I've banned him.
gosh. All right. So for me right now, it's a pretty reasonable position. I stumbled across your live stream, and I'm actually
Yeah, well,
supporting some of what.
read our website, join our Discord, join the WhatsApp group. You can learn more about us. And yeah, I'd say join the community and start learning about it. We've got hundreds of people in our WhatsApp group and in our Discord server, lots of activists. I didn't even start the movement. It was started 4 years ago. I joined 1 year ago. So yeah, our movement is full of people that understand suffering and how unacceptable it is. Instead of making excuses and blaming the victim, we actually truly understand that it's not your fault and it is terrible. So if you want to meet some smart people who aren't blinded by the, glowing lights of this world and actually see that it's not okay, then yeah, join the movement.
I just got a couple of questions, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the point I was trying to make, like at the very beginning, is that evolution will still exist in the universe, and I think that because we consist of two most common elements, like in the universe, we're talking about carbon and nitrogen. The like, I still believe that there are some conscious species like across the universe, right? And so even if we're not like, I'm pretty sure we're not going to be able to actually persuade them to go extinct. And even if we did, it wouldn't be like on the whole like universal scale. So what purpose is the like is there to go extinct as like human species and animal species like within our planet, but there's still going to be life around, and it's just we can't truly.
Well, there's no way to know what is possible at the minute, right? So again, we have to let science determine that. So if we can do universe-wide permanent extinction, then we will. If we can only do our galaxy, then we'll do it. If we can only do a small part of the galaxy, then we'll do it. But we should just do as much as we can, because the amount of suffering we can prevent with our intelligence is like infinite compared to the suffering that will go on. And for example, we're less than 1% of the population on this planet. It's mostly animals, and they suffer worse than we do in greater numbers. They'll just suffer for millions and millions of years unless we stop them. So if we have to suffer for 1,000 years to prevent 1,000,000 years of wild animal suffering, then it's absolutely the right thing to do. So yeah, exploring how much extinction we can do, if we can do beyond Earth, it's worth doing the science and doing the research to investigate if we can be more helpful.
So do you think when we die, it's just nothingness and we don't
Yeah.
feel anything, therefore there's no suffering?
Yeah.
But is there a credible way to support that? Because we don't like the best
Well,
scientific.
what's the alternative? I mean, there is effectively no alternative, right? Your mind exists here and in its current state. It can't really exist elsewhere.
Sure,
Think
that's
about it,
true.
right? Look, if you get brain damage a minute before you die, are you going to go to heaven with, absolute brain damage and you can't
No.
speak anymore? Like, it's not a system that makes any sense or has any sort of coherency. And so bearing that in mind, that if there is some sort of afterlife and, maybe everyone goes to hell, right? By that logic, we should be making sure to give everyone brain damage before they die. So care homes would have a procedure where we drill a nail into your head and make sure that you're completely brain dead before you die, just in case you go to hell when you die, right? So look, that's just ridiculous, right? And if you're going to say, oh well, maybe the afterlife has a way around that, well then there would have to be some sort of intelligent being looking over this system and causing all of this suffering, and we should try and kill them, basically, right? We should try and stop them if there is some sort of system causing all of this suffering. Realistically, there isn't, right? It's just nature, and we're just mistaking the shadows for intelligent beings. But there is no intelligence, there is no God coming to help us. We are the only ones that can help, and we have to grow up and realize that and start taking that responsibility, right? Instead of saying, oh, just forget it, let God do it, or maybe there's a God, let the maybe God do it. No, we should take responsibility for the world, right? And actually make sure there is no suffering anymore.
That's very true. And do you think that ultimately what's going to happen is that the vast majority of people, there is like consciousness is a spectrum, right? Because we have like, I don't want to use the word NPCs, but many of the people currently in the world, they just live. They don't even question, they don't even pose the question of, how suffering impacts everyone's life, right? Not just ours, but the animals as well. And the vast majority of species that's inhabiting the planet are animals, right? They don't even question that. So is it going to be the battle between the minority versus the majority? Because as far as I'm concerned, many of the individuals that do exist on our planet,
that's the
want to live.
advantage, actually. That's the good thing about it, is that most people are NPCs, right? Most people are sheep. They don't care what's going on, so they're not really going to put up much resistance in that sense. And I do think we'll be able to overpower them, outthink them, and yeah, we will take over the world, and we will start running it for the better. And we're very confident, very optimistic that this will happen, because as humanity and life on the planet in general, the longer it continues to exist on Earth, the smarter it gets, right? As life evolves, it gets smarter and smarter, and humanity is still doing that as well. And so as humanity gets smarter, and we've now got extinction, that's going to get more and more popular. And so if people start genetically improving humanity's intelligence and genetics as well, that's also going to lead to more extinction. The smarter people are, the more extinctionists there will be.
Mhm. And do you think there's ever a way where we as human species could diminish suffering, like to like at all?
No, so the thing is that people have this really kind of naive perspective when it comes to safety. So, for example, if there was a simulation and somebody says, "Yeah, it's never gone wrong. It's been perfect. It's been running perfectly for hundreds of years." Now we can't say 100% certain it is safe, but it's everyone's having a good time so far, right? You then walk into that simulation, it does go wrong, and you get tortured for millions of years, right? So that is what this mentality will lead to, of, oh, there's no suffering, everything must be fine. Okay, let's go into the simulation then. And then it does go wrong, but you didn't care if it went wrong. You never considered if it went wrong, because you just said, oh, there's no suffering, it must be fine. So we have to consider the dangers and the risks. And the conclusion of that is actually to understand that there is infinite danger, unlimited risk of suffering. It can go infinitely wrong in infinite different ways. You're suffering for millions of years, or just for your whole life, with infinite severity of and intensity of pain and suffering. So most people never consider that. They just assume that everything's fine. They don't think about any dangers. They just don't think about it. So if we allow people to do that, then they will keep suffering by accident, right? They will end up in terrible situations, in the same way that you wouldn't let a baby walk off a cliff because it thinks it's going to fly. You shouldn't let people live, basically, because they will end up suffering, and they're not able to understand that, right? The fact that they're NPCs, they're sheep, It's the real way to look at it is that they're animals, effectively, right? They haven't actually evolved out of being animals yet. And yeah, animals will just choose to live even if they get tortured or if they're about to be tortured. And humans will as well, right? They're just animals. They have a survival instinct which tells them to survive no matter what. And so that ignores all of the reasons not to survive, basically. So we can't let them make their own decisions because they've evolved to make the wrong decisions.
So do you think that people that are actually not the NPCs and have a completely opposite conclusion, do you think that there's probably going to be a lot of like opposition groups against this movement, right? And there are people that are conscious enough to understand that suffering is bad, but but they still think that life is, worth living, and we should continue exist as human species, and suffering shall continue to exist. Do you think it would be ethical to even oppose those people?
Yeah, if we don't use force to defend their victims, then force will be used against them to make them suffer. So if you don't do forceful extinction, then force will be used to make people suffer, essentially. So you have to use force to defend them, or force will be used against them. And yeah, you have to do forceful total extinction, otherwise those same people will end up suffering, even though they've decided to continue living, or they'll make somebody else suffer, or they'll reproduce and continue the suffering going for millions of more years. So total extinction has to be forceful, otherwise it will never happen. And the thing is, allowing life to live would be the ultimate cruelty, because then they'll end up suffering, and they can't control it. They can't control their desire to live. It overwhelms their reason, their rationality. It overwhelms all logic and sense. So because of that, they're not actually able to think rationally, right? Their rationality is compromised by their animalistic nature, their survival instincts, and other structures in the brain.
So basically, any method will do, no matter how much, like in the end.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we were talking about it in the WhatsApp group just yesterday. If we have to bring back, intense slavery for extinction, then everyone should be completely on board with it, right? People should be lining up to become slaves if it's going to benefit extinction, right? We should be willing to do whatever it takes, and it's only privilege which makes us think that that there would be anything which would be unacceptable in the service of extinction, right? Because you have to choose the lesser of two evils. So if you're going to say, no, we can't murder anyone, then guess what? Murder will continue on for billions of years. So yeah, we do have to be willing to cause any amount of suffering and cruelty so that we can put an end to all of it, because that is the lesser of two evils. And if we're not willing to do whatever it takes, then there will be a situation where we say, oh, I'm not willing to do that. And that's it. Extinction's over. Suffering will just continue on for billions of years, which is way worse than anything that you could possibly have to do to cause extinction.
Yeah, I think it's a reasonable position. I still have this, visceral feeling about it, and it's just, because to the animalistic nature, it's kind of counterintuitive, right? Because we're all, programmed by our biological needs and wants to, just continue living, reproducing, and so on and so forth. So the question that I pose right now to myself is, why is suffering inherently bad? So it's basically like semantics, but I'm just wondering what your take.
Yeah, the funny thing is that you can pick basically any reason, and they're all valid. So it's unbearable, it feels nasty, right? It's excruciating, and you can say, ooh, can you do that? The answer is yes, actually. Why is suffering bad? Pick any reason, right? And you'll find that they actually all work. It's unfair, it's cruel, it's horrible, it's excruciating, it's unbearable, it can be so bad that you'd rather be dead. And the thing is that these are all valid reasons. But the problem is that when people try to validate extinction in their head, the brain doesn't let them. And so essentially the normal thought process is corrupted, and you'll end up saying things like, we need proof that suffering is bad, right? So it will essentially drive you to a higher level of requirement of proof, right? But effectively, what it actually does is push you from a reasonable standard of, yeah, suffering's bad, child abuse is obviously bad, a life of pure hell, that's obviously bad, not acceptable. It will push you from, it won't let you do that, and it will push you to an unreasonable standard where suddenly your brain demands proof that child abuse is bad, right? Proof. But essentially, it's a trick. There is no proof, basically. You don't need proof. It's like proof that 1 + 1 = 2. You don't need it.
And I've got a question as well. So, do you think that, okay, so is there a way that we could just take care of the animal suffering by making the animal species be beside us go extinct? And then if we're talking about humans, we could propose them a choice. So if you think that suffering is unbearable, we've got, euthanasia, right? So basically everyone that,
But
suffers,
again, we
they have
can't make
a
it
choice.
optional, right? Because people will make the wrong choice and they'll end up suffering. So what do we care more about? Safety from suffering, or allowing people to live and end up suffering horrifically? Right? We care more about safety from suffering, right? We don't need to risk the suffering. There's nothing that can make it worth it risking, essentially. So that's why extinction won't be optional. You won't be allowed to live out the rest of your life. It'll be done as fast as possible, right? We don't want any life to have to be alive and exposed to the danger of suffering. Right? And it's not just a stubbed toe, right? You could get trapped into a life of pure hell with no escape, right? So it's not just a stubbed toe.
But do you think that because humans are much more conscious than any of the other species, we sort of have this way of choosing if we want to suffer, right? Because there are people that are okay with the current position in life, right? And so if we make like the necessary changes, there could still be a way where human beings exist and they choose whether to live or
Right,
not
but
to live.
you don't always have that choice, right? If you get compromised, then that's it. You're done. You're finished. So again, you're thinking naively and optimistically. You're not thinking about the dangers and how this can go wrong. You're just saying, "Oh, can't it'll be fine, right? Who cares if it goes slightly wrong?" We care, right? Nobody should have to suffer, right? If the system isn't foolproof, then it's not fair. It's not safe. It shouldn't be used.
I should probably do more research on this particular topic. So you told me you've got like a website and a WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
right? So let me just take a look at it, and then once I do like a much deeper dive, maybe I'll get a like a clear idea. Because right now I have all of these visceral thoughts. Because for me, I always,
Yeah, well, that's the animal mind that's
Mhm.
we've got, a holdover from. Like, so when I joined the movement, I still had it for like a good 3 months or so. I had loads of stupid questions myself, and the thing is that we've evolved to have stupid questions. So unfortunately, it's not something you can easily avoid. The process pretty much requires asking stupid questions and feeling embarrassed about it. I've been there. Lots of our members have gone through the same thing where they felt really bad asking questions about trying to understand it because it sounded really stupid asking them. But ultimately, that we have specifically evolved to do that. So we have to, encourage people to ask those silly questions anyway, because it's the only way to learn.
Yes, I want to
And yeah,
understand.
it might sound silly to some of the senior members of the movement, at the very least. You know what I mean?
All right, that's interesting. Thank you very much for your time.
All right, thanks for coming up. All right, let's see who else we've got. We've got tons of people in the queue. Let's start bringing them on. Okay, we've got Prophet. I'm going to go straight to the bottom of the queue and just bring up as many as we can, under the assumption that lots of them. Oh,
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So what if we figure out a way to do like resurrection?
Well, that doesn't prevent suffering, right?
Well, it does, because then no one can die. Like,
But dying isn't the only type of suffering, right?
no, but it kind of is though.
Really? So
Yeah.
like, if a woman gets raped, that's not suffering.
Well, it kind of depends how you look at it.
Oh yeah, so rape, not that bad, right? Just depends how you look at it. If you're looking at it while jacking off, then yeah, the rape is good, right? That's the sick mentality that we're dealing with here. Oh yeah, it depends how you look at it. Rape can be good, can be bad. No, it's bad, right? It's not acceptable. It doesn't depend on how you look at it. It's terrible. It's unacceptable. Stop trying to defend it, justify it, say, well, sometimes it's good. If I'm the one doing it, then it's good. No. Okay, do we have any more people?
Hello,
Hello, how you doing?
I'm okay, thank you. And you?
I'm good. How's your suffering?
You know,
It's going.
Yeah.
Fair, yeah. Okay, hello, how you doing? We have the Antichrist on stage.
So
No?
like how would you stop how you like there are people that don't want to like
We can't hear you. You must be under the folds of hell or something. Kronos, hello.
Yo, maybe you think life is bad because you're an LTN and all the Foids reject you, you know?
Yeah, I was born in 1994. I have no idea what any
No,
of
I
those
said
words mean.
I didn't say no. Like Lottie Normie. You ever heard of that?
Well, you're probably 15 years old or something, so I'm not going to know those
No,
words.
I'm a grown man. I'm Israeli.
Kronos, don't pretend you're a grown man. Come on, you're using like
He's
13-year-old
trolling.
words. All right, we have Parmesan coming up next. Parmesan has 3,500 followers. Hello.
Are you for serious, man? Is this a real topic?
Yes, suffering is serious. We need a serious solution.
Okay, man. I think a serious solution is I'm going to break my monitor. I swear.
Okay.
Why are you so stupid?
Well, everyone is just stupid, right? We're animals,
No, just
right?
you, buddy.
Sorry?
Only you. Only you are stupid, man.
But
The
everyone else is
stupid
a
thing on
genius,
the
right?
topic. Debate you is like debating a poop pile. It's stupid and stinky.
Have you
like
actually
your
done
topic.
any debate in this conversation? Have you offered a single reason why extinction would be bad?
Every time come up here, person say, I'm not 15, you're like, I'm going to kick you anyway because I don't like you.
So
You're
do
tough
you
man.
have a counter argument? Do you have anything intelligent to say, or are you
I'm
just
just
brain
as
dead?
intellectual as you, man. I'm smart like you. Look at me, big smart man with a good topic. Debate me.
Is there any logic that we can work with here?
Yeah.
No.
I
So
swear.
he said yes, as if that it contains logic, right? Should we do this incredibly complicated thing? Yes. Why? Yes.
They are
Crazy.
completely clueless. They cannot really. They have like defective brains. So it's like
Children.
it's like an animal. Like when you see an animal torturing another animal, it's just the same thing. They are really. They didn't evolve to the most compassionate, rational, and merciful version of humans.
That's
As
it. The
exist,
monstrous version. Yeah.
Mhm.
Abraham, hello. How you doing?
What's up, man?
Yeah. Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. So you want to like forceful extinction of everyone?
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you start with yourself?
Because that doesn't cause extinction.
Well, it wouldn't be your fucking problem.
Well, I'm making it my problem.
Well, you know what they say. You know that Michael Jackson song? I'm looking at the man in the mirror. You know?
No logic detected. Look, guys, if you've got no counter arguments, then why are you wasting our time, right? At least give us some, even give us a stupid argument, right? That's better than no argument. You might come up here and tell us that extinction will cause more suffering than it prevents. You know, at least tell us something stupid, something we can work with.
And these are the kind of people that they want us to like have
To trust
them
their
agree.
responsibility, their position, right? Yeah. I have no opinion, but we should allow suffering. Yeah, we're going to take your word for it.
We have to make the decisions ourselves because they cannot really do the right choice. They are too deluded by nature to be irrational and not consider the suffering of all sentient beings as something that important and it should be prevented.
Yeah, they don't want to take this topic seriously, right? They just, it's because they don't care about anyone else, basically.
Yeah.
This is essentially asking people to give up everything, and they don't want to do it, right? Imagine asking your cat to start volunteering at a soup kitchen or something. It's probably not going to do it. And humans won't do the right thing either.
Selfish animals.
Okay, we now have lots of people in the queue, so let's see who we can get through. See if there's any debates to have. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, James. Me again. I was wondering, I don't know if you posted it today, but I saw a video, I think it was AI generated about the meat grinder of humanity or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm wondering, because I believe your stance on, you know, the goal of extinctionism is that you're allowed to cause suffering by necessity, short-term suffering, if it means that eventually you get rid of suffering permanently, right?
Yeah. I mean, if the thing is, if you limit yourself to never causing any suffering, then you wouldn't be able to step outside of the house.
Yeah. I'm wondering, so would you say that the limit is it has to be necessary for the cause?
Well, like, what's the alternative? Just murder for fun? Well, obviously,
I'm saying anything that you do for the cause, right? It has to be necessary, right?
I mean, yeah, if it's just something completely unnecessary, then what would be the point?
Okay. Well, I'm wondering because are you aware of, like, you know, the effects of AI, you know, AI data centers on communities, you know, drinking water?
Yeah, it actually reduces suffering.
Yeah, we support AI.
It reduces suffering?
Yep.
In what way?
So, the more AI, the less environment there will be, the less wild animals there will be suffering, and the sooner we'll be able to actually, you know, progress our technology and science to be able to do a proper and the most vast and thorough extinction. So that is going to rely on AI, most likely, yeah.
Yeah, so making people's lives miserable before they die,
Yeah.
so you can make a short videos is necessary.
Well, yeah, basically.
It's going to
Okay.
prevent billions of years of suffering.
What, a 5-second AI video?
Well, so the thing is that essentially
Activism.
you're in an ocean of suffering, and you're pointing out that we've done one tiny thing basically to try and solve the entire ocean. So it's a really, really silly mentality where you're in an ocean and you're saying, no, don't spill that drop, right? Oh, you can't spill a drop. We're already in an entire ocean, and you're saying, oh, if you're trying to solve the ocean, you can't spill a drop. But that's just silly, right? That's ridiculous.
Well, I assumed you were the type of people that wouldn't try and quantify suffering. All suffering is bad. You can't minimize it, can you?
What do you mean you can't minimize?
Like again, a 5-second AI video that, again, you could just pay someone to make a piece of art or an animation, but something that does affect communities. Again,
How does it affect communities?
So you've just acknowledged before that you know what AI data centers do to communities.
It
They
benefits
do nothing to
extinction.
communities.
It benefits extinction, so we are pro AI, even if it causes suffering.
Yeah,
It
look,
will
if we have
prevent
to
greater
torture
suffering.
thousands of people, we don't care, right? It's still the right thing to do.
Okay, well, I get the feeling that you don't actually care about necessity. I think you'd be willing to torture thousands of people if you just wanted to. It seems like this is just
well, that's you're pulling that out your ass, right? So you're not
necessarily.
you are. You're not basing that on anything. You're saying, okay, yeah, intelligently being prepared to do anything difficult in order to do the right thing. No, I think you're just violent. Right? No, it's that you would be a coward and you wouldn't do the right thing if it was too emotionally challenging for you.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
describe
So
it.
you would just encourage people to allow the greater evil, which is stupid, right? So yeah, don't spill a drop in the ocean of suffering. Oh, that little drop, that would be unacceptable if you're trying to solve the entire ocean of suffering, right? Stupid. Yes, you should absolutely be willing to splash everyone and throw water over people if it's going to help end the ocean of suffering.
People act like this concept of causing suffering to prevent greater suffering, that we invented it, but it's used every day in society, in hospitals. The doctor will cause you suffering to prevent a greater suffering. So
yeah, and AI is being used in hospitals and is preventing lots of suffering. Yeah. So when he said it's affecting communities, what he was actually referring to is that sometimes data centers are near to villages or towns and they can make a lot of noise, right? So that's the sort of suffering that he cares about, right? He doesn't care if anybody's being tortured or if anybody's, screaming in pain. Oh, that's a little bit noisy. That's the kind of suffering he cares about.
Yeah, he doesn't care that it will prevent millions of animals reproducing in nature and being stuck in the cycle of animal predation. So it's good that we are not environmentalists, so we support like the deforestations.
Okay, we have another troll. We have another troll coming up. Okay. Hello.
Jimmy, you basically advocate for genocide, is what you're saying.
No, extinction. It's a different thing.
No, it's the same thing, bro.
No, if you Google genocide, it will not say this is the same as extinction. So it's not the same thing. And nice try, but definitely learn some English, learn some definitions, right? It's very different things. A lot of people just have no idea what the definition of extinction is. Google it. Hello, how you doing?
Good, you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
We talked a lot about evolving. What about that is evolving?
Yeah, so animals evolved to be selfish and to not care about the suffering that they cause or that they endure. So they don't care if 90% of their children get eaten alive, they don't care if they get eaten alive, and they don't care if they eat another animal alive, right? And if they weren't monsters like that, then they just wouldn't survive. So they evolved to be complete monsters, to be absolute bastards, because the conditions of nature are so harsh, it requires that, right? You have to be incredibly selfish to survive. So humans have got the same problem, and effectively they haven't evolved out of being animals yet. They're still basically monkeys. And pretty much the main determining feature that we're talking about here is rationality. So the next stage of human evolution is to become rational, whereas right now most humans are irrational, and their survival instinct and other things like that completely overwhelm their ability to think rationally. So nature's priorities of survive and reproduce overwhelm and override their ability to think rationally.
So why don't we think rationally and not like kill everything and help things?
Because the rational position is to make sure that there is no suffering, and you can't do that without extinction. It's not possible to actually provide safety for life at all, full stop. So the only thing to do is extinction instead. So it's impossible to provide 100% safety for life. Like, it's physically impossible. So only extinction can actually do that, right? If we have life existing, it's going to suffer unacceptably. Whereas if there is no life, then there are no victims, there is no suffering.
What do you think about the government promoting kids in life?
Well, ironically, we temporarily need humanity to continue, and the more humans, the better right now, so that we can do animal extinction first. And for every additional human, you're taking up loads of environment and space, which prevents millions of wild animals from living and suffering horrifically over the course of your lifetime. So the more we take over the planet, the less wild animals will exist, right? Because they have no space. We're chopping down their forests. We're making sure that they can't keep being forced to suffer on those spaces. So the more humans, the less wild animals and the less suffering, and the more ability we will have to end all suffering, to do a proper and thorough extinction. The more scientists we'll have with the more people, the more our technology will progress and advance. So 100 years from now, if we have more people today, then 100 years from now, we'll have advanced much more. And that means that we'll be able to do extinction sooner, and we can, close down the suffering sooner.
If somehow humanity became a species where it was 100% possible for happiness, I guess, or non-suffering to happen, what would you think about that?
Yeah, so
would you still like extinction or not?
Yeah, no, the thing is that essentially the only way that we would ever support life existing is if there was omniscience, which could actually guarantee 100%, foolproof, absolutely foolproof, that life can be safe. So that's the only way we would ever do it. And if that did happen, then we would have to consider it. We wouldn't just blindly say, okay. However, if, we did have a split second to make that choice, it is tempting to say that we would make life exist and choose heaven. But again, we haven't really considered that fully, right? We've definitely explored the ethics of extinction, but we haven't, or I haven't massively explored the ethics of should we allow heaven or should we choose extinction? It's a great question, but ultimately it's not one that we desperately have to answer, right? We're focusing on extinction. We're not focusing on heaven, basically, because it's not a realistic thing. But yeah, look, if it did happen, then we would consider it. We may well do it, but it's not realistic at the minute.
I personally still would vote for total extinction instead.
So do we all have to agree on it, or are you just going to pull the plug?
We'll just pull the plug, and we expect people won't agree on it, so we're going to do it anyway.
And how long do you know?
No, just as soon as we can, right? It would be very... Look, people are always asking us, to predict the future, right? So to ask a movement of 100 people planning on taking over the world and doing universe-wide extinction, how long is it going to take? I mean, how could we possibly know that? I guess when people are asking these questions, they think that we've planned everything out. But the thing is that planning these things out is actually counterproductive, because you need to be more flexible than that. Yes, you do need a certain extent of planning, but it should really be around the rough outlines, because 10 years from now, the world will be completely different, right? If we planned a revolution today and did the planning, it would probably be irrelevant 10 years from now when the world has changed, right? All of those plans you made, things will have changed and those plans won't work anymore. So there's no point planning the revolution and everything right now. The focus is on growing the movement and growing the ethics and the logic of it, and growing our thinking on it as well.
I was just kind of trying to understand your thought process. So when you pull the plug, do y'all have to do it at the same time?
No.
No.
And ideally, people won't have to do it to themselves, right? Ideally, it should either be automatic or somebody else can do it for you. Maybe a robot will do it for you. That's what I like to think, that, pretty soon we'll all have personal robots anyway. So ideally, right, it would be it's Order 66, take out the Jedi, right? And your robot just turns to you and, takes you out somehow, or puts you to sleep, or uses gas, whatever, right?
I hope we don't come to that.
Why not?
Well, because that's, I feel like, giving human rights to animate objects.
Right, but we need to think with logic, not with emotion and pride, right? Like, ooh, humanity must control it. Right? We can program things to do what we want, right?
Well, I guess. So are you trying to create, like, murder robots?
Potentially, yeah.
Oh.
But it's going to be more like euthanasia robots, right? They'll be stopping the murder. However, that is a good TV show if anybody wants to check it out. It's called Murderbot with Alexander Skarsgård. Great show. Okay, let's see who else we have in the queue. Let's get some more debates going. Next person is coming up now. Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good right now.
Great. Do you have any questions?
Why do you think? Well, I know why, but how is forceful extinction a good option?
Because it means there'll be no more suffering. And if you care about the individuals, right? If you allow them to choose to live instead of just putting them to sleep, then lots of them will end up suffering horrifically, or they'll reproduce and cause more suffering. So you have to, for their sake and the sake of others, you can't let them choose.
Yeah, but who cares about others if you're dead? If I'm not here, what's there to care about?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, we are here, we are alive, and we can care.
Yeah, but your caring is getting rid of myself.
It's to protect you from suffering.
That's not protecting me. That's just I'm not even existing anymore.
But then you can't suffer, right?
Yeah, but there's nothing to care about after that.
Exactly. So it's it's the most effective way to prevent suffering.
You gotta think like a human. You gotta be more greedy.
Be more what?
What do you want in life?
Be more greedy. Look, the thing is, well, it's, we could shit on that guy for being selfish or whatever, but ultimately it's like asking an animal to be selfless, right? They're not capable of doing that, and they're not capable of understanding it either. So it's hard to get angry at these people. And we shouldn't, right? We should try to resist getting angry. We should try and understand instead. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you? This
Good,
is
thank you.
probably the second time I've seen yours. It's an interesting nihilistic take upon the world, right? Was it kind of like did you ever watch the first season of True Detective?
Yeah.
Right, with Rustin Cole. He said
Yeah,
we should
but
just all
lots of people have said things like that before. But the thing is that they never take it far enough, right? We should make sure that nobody is alive. We should protect everybody's child, not just our own, right? Yeah, the thing is, antinatalism doesn't help animals, and it doesn't help anyone else's child. It sees things from a very individualistic perspective of, oh, well, we're all just here. It's a free for all, so I'll just do my thing, and that's all I can do. But no, actually, we can organize, we can band together, and provide total protection for everyone from having to be born and to suffer.
So you asked to be born, right?
Sorry?
You asked to be born, right?
No.
You chose that, right?
Nobody
No.
did.
You didn't. You didn't choose to be born?
No.
So why do you not have the right to exist?
The what?
Why do you not have the right to exist if you didn't choose to be born?
Well, that's not how it works, right? Nature doesn't think, it doesn't have rights, it just forces you to exist and reproduce. That's all nature does.
Nature doesn't force anyone to reproduce, no.
It does. Nature programmed life to reproduce. That's how evolution works. Those that don't reproduce die off, and those that want to reproduce, they get fortified. And then there are mutations which make them obsessed with reproducing and things like that. So nature corrupts the rational process and overrides it. A lot of people
Have you actually read Darwin's book?
No.
Okay, so then how can you speak about evolution if you never read Darwin's
Because I've been studying it without reading his book.
Is it hard to read his book?
I've just
You
been
get
using
what
other.
what evolution is. It's selection, right? It's selection.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
strongest live, right?
Well, you see, it's not selection. It doesn't work like that.
Yes.
It heavily involves mutation and creating new features.
The strongest survive.
That's not a good thing, though.
I didn't say it was a good thing. I'm saying what's factual. What he did in the evolution of species, when his book, when he
Also, it's
went
not
into
just
the
the strongest
Galapagos and did all
survive.
this stuff.
It's also about forcing them to reproduce as well. So the idea that it's just about the strongest that survive
No,
is also
it's
completely
not about
wrong.
forcing to reproduce. No one's forced to reproduce.
You are, though. You are. The thing is, you didn't choose to be
41,
born.
I have
You
no
didn't choose
kids.
to be horny, right? And then you go ahead and reproduce. So yeah, absolutely, nobody is choosing. You are forced by nature.
You understand that you're missing a little step there. I get what you're saying. Honestly, I do. I understand it. But you're missing a step.
Which is?
The strong survive. The strong reproduce. That's what causes not macro but micro evolution, right?
Again, it's not just about survival. It's also about reproduction. You're missing out. You're missing on 50% of the equation there.
So you should just not. We should just, as Rustin Cole said, just walk off into oblivion.
No. So we should provide universal safety for everyone. It's not about giving up. It's about actually starting to care and actually starting to do the right thing instead of giving up, right? Saying we can make a safe world for everyone. Let's not give up and be lazy. Let's actually work together and make sure nobody has to suffer.
So the thing is hold on. The strong survive, and that makes it okay for the weak to suffer to death. No, I'm not talking about people suffering. You have to understand that what we should, and I agree with you on a level. I really do, actually, because you have people that are drug addicts, right? Alcoholics, drug addicts, people that will go out and harm people to get money, rob them, whatever. You don't have to do the eyebrow thing. And so that's so what do we do now? So your thing is what? Take care of population or eliminate it?
Eliminate it.
So then we should have, and I don't know if I can say this word on here.
The thing is, it's as
It's
simple as this.
it's a hollow and
We
it's a
should
cost.
not
We should have
allow
that.
bad lives anymore. We shouldn't allow bad lives anymore.
So again, should we have what they call a hollow and a cost? Exterminate
No, we should
people?
have an extinction.
So we should exterminate people. So essentially,
no.
what you're talking about is the same as what they were talking about in 1943.
Well, that
Right.
look, exterminations, genocides, all these terrible things are going to happen much worse if we don't do extinction.
So you're for genocide and Holocaust.
No, we're for euthanasia and extinction.
So you think people should unalive themselves?
No.
Life is what
No?
causes the
No,
Holocaust.
we need humans temporarily to keep reproducing until we complete animal extinction first. We should help those who can't help themselves, right? Antinatalism doesn't care about those who can't help themselves. It literally says those who can help themselves should, and everyone else can go fuck themselves.
Have you been in a psychiatric institution?
That's
ever
not a
in your life?
counter argument, but thank you, Bob. That if that's the conclusion of your ability to argue here, then we are going to stamp that as no logic detected, right? You're a crazy person. That's not a counter argument. Hello, how you doing?
Hello.
Yes, Mr. Benjamin, how can we help you today? How's your suffering?
My suffering is minimal today.
Wow, your
How about-
privilege
how about
is
yours?
astounding.
How
Do you have
about
any
yours?
question for us?
Yeah. How are you feeling today?
Suffering.
So you're suffering.
Yep.
Hmm.
Do you have any questions? Anything to ask about extinction? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree with it? Okay, Benny, thank you for coming up. It's been a roller coaster ride of a conversation. Lots of emotional ups and downs there. Very exciting time for all. I hope everyone took pictures, while we had the chance. Okay, let's see who else we've got. We've got Venus in the queue. We've also got. Oh, hello.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. I'm a big fan. I think I've messaged you before.
Yeah. I think you have. Yeah.
I honestly, like, I didn't think about it at first. And then I was like, this makes sense because I'm doing a bachelor's degree in evolutionary biology and genetics. And it is possible for animals to develop sentience and keep suffering. And it's like, when you think about it, like, would you let a baby suffer just because it's not as conscious as you? No, you
No.
wouldn't. And it's like, you have to, like, nothing can survive because there's always that possibility of evolution. The way life got on this planet was completely accidental. And we have no idea why things feel the need to reproduce or continue their survival. I'm not sure why that happens. I don't think anyone knows that.
It's
But I
just a
don't think,
mechanism, just
yeah,
like
it's just,
any like natural mechanism like fire, but it's just this is a biological one. So it doesn't have really a purpose behind it. Like it just started and it keeps
Yeah.
happening.
Think of it this way. Look, before the first reproducing organism came about on Earth, there may have been others. Right? There may have been lots of single-celled organisms on Earth that sprang to life and then died, and nothing else happened. And it may have taken lots of them before one eventually mutated to be able to reproduce. And that's what stuck with it. And that's how the whole cycle of evolution began.
yeah, I definitely reckon we need to like just get to it on a like biological level. So the plants obviously have to go to. I reckon someone needs to give you like, what would you think about like an atomic bomb? Is that too crazy? Or like what
Yeah.
strategies do you have?
Yeah. The thing is, nukes can't cause extinction. That's the thing. The last asteroid had the power of 1 billion nukes, still didn't cause extinction. So we need a more scientific, more intelligent method.
Yeah.
guys.
Like what would you suggest? Like what would you say the steps are? Like I
So
heard
the
you guys
steps:
talking about like robots before.
we grow the movement, take over the world, start doing animal extinction. That could happen today, right? Immediately, right? As soon as we take over, we can start putting animals to sleep. You don't need new technology or science to do that, right? So we can immediately start helping animals from day one, right? You don't need new technology. And then we can start researching how life develops, how to prevent it from developing, how to make Earth uninhabitable if we can do beyond Earth. And we would also need to research things like how to do total animal extinction on Earth while replacing our dependency on the animals, such as food, oxygen, whatever else.
I feel like that's where like more radioactive like bombs come in because like when they're set off, like absolutely like no life can survive because they have ionizing radiation that stops like the parts of the cell from growing and completely breaks like molecules down to their atomic level.
It's
So I
possible, yeah.
reckon maybe something like that.
Maybe. But the thing is that if you look at Chernobyl, life still exists there. So it's well known that nuclear bombs can only cause like maybe 100 years of cancerous effects, but they don't make life uninhabitable. Like if you look
It's why we need it on a really large scale.
Well, no, if you look at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, right, those cities never actually stopped being inhabited. So nuking those cities did literally nothing to prevent life from being there at all. So nukes are not an option, and we should again leave it to the science. Guessing nukes now achieves nothing. Guessing the method achieves nothing. It's counterproductive, effectively.
Okay, that makes sense. Like, I just feel like maybe the life prevailed because of surrounding like ecosystems that maybe like
So
help the.
you should read into Jeremy England. He's one of the scientists that we rely on for understanding how life developed on Earth and how it will most likely be developing on other planets as well. It's from sunlight being dispersed, essentially. The energy being dispersed creates patterns and also gives the energy that life needs as well.
All right, thank you. What did you say his name was called?
Jeremy, England.
Jeremy, England. Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming up, Venus. Angela, how are you doing?
I'm good, James. How are you?
Good, thank you.
You know, James, I want to talk about my experience as a doctor that made me 100% into this
Yeah.
situation. Yeah. Seeing people suffer with cancer that is caused by genetic mutations or kids born with very serious health issues and sometimes deformations, this really made me believe that we should stop. We should stop. At some point, we should stop this reproducing. And, the genetic mutations are getting more and more. 100 years ago, people who had some cancers are way fewer than people that have cancer now. Certain cancers are getting, more and more. Deformations are getting more and more. And you know what pisses me off the most, James, is when sometimes we diagnose a woman who is pregnant, we tell her, yo, your child is going to be born with certain deformation, and you can consider abortion. Her answer is no. God will take care of it. God has his own wisdom in this. They just bring up God about how they will give born to this deformed baby and make him suffer for the rest of his life just because they think there's wisdom
Yeah.
from God.
Yeah. The thing is that ultimately there's just infinite irrationality there, right? Yeah. I mean, my conclusion is really that, unfortunately, the smartest thing for extinctionists to do is to basically just make viral videos, because explaining it is just a waste of time. People are going to be irrational anyway. We want people to join who essentially don't need to think about it too hard, and anyone else, unfortunately, will be a poor candidate for joining.
And
So it's,
I've seen people in the comments saying oh, this is you're sociopaths, psychopaths. What's so psychopathic about wanting to end suffering?
well, to them it sounds psychopathic, right? Because to an animal or to a narcissist, to a really greedy, selfish person, it's going to sound terrible. But effectively, that just proves that they're projecting their own feelings onto their understanding of what's right and wrong for the world. So a suffering-free world is terrifying to people, right? A world that is fair is terrifying to people, because they think it's going to take away from their selfishness, basically, which it will.
When they hear when they hear total extinction, their survival instincts kick in, so they cannot think rationally. It's like the lizard brain. It's the animalistic part of their brain that takes control. So they will oppose it. They will do anything to be a good slave to the DNA molecule to continue reproducing.
Yeah, anyways, it's their instinction that made up all of these cults. They want immortality so bad. They want to believe that they want to stay forever. There is an afterlife. We're gonna be here forever. You can't just stop us from existing and reproducing.
And they don't care if anybody has a bad life. They don't care if everyone has a bad life, right? So I think this is one of the most important pieces of the puzzle, is that they don't care if everyone has a bad life except for themselves, right? So literally everyone could be having a bad life except for them, and they still wouldn't support extinction. It's a complete lack of morality. Basically, when we say that their survival instinct and their selfishness overrides rationality and reason, compassion, it overrides it all the way, right? Completely, to the point where they won't give up their life, even if it's to help an entire planet who is screaming for help.
Exactly. They call it unethical, but what is so ethical about suffering and creating more suffering and seeing animals die and people die from hunger and wars? What's the point of that? If you're having a decent life, okay, but someone else is dying from cancer that he didn't choose because of some genetic mutation that, he got from his grandparents or something.
Yeah.
How's that
And
ethical?
and just imagine like a slave saying, "This isn't right, sir. You should let us go, please, sir." What's he going to say? He's going to say, "No, this is good for you. This is balanced. This is fair, right? This is what about my happiness?"
Yeah, and he also tell us there are happy slaves.
Yeah.
Not all slaves are
And look,
sad.
we're educating the slaves. We're giving them pillows to sleep on, right? Yeah, slavery is good.
So the first move is to make this go viral. We're all gonna try to make videos, make this go as viral as we can. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, like, look, you can do a 10-minute explanation video, but anyone that is going to agree with it doesn't need a 10-minute explanation video. So, like, yeah, if you get 1 million views with a weaker message, it's much better.
You know, you made like a short video with AI, and I think if we make one like with real people, real actors, you know, it's gonna be short because, you know, this generation, their dopamine receptors are rotted, so they won't watch a long one. But like with a strong message, it can go more viral. Like if we,
Well, I agree. Let's do it, right? Let's make a pro-extinction movie. Let's absolutely do it. And if it's somehow possible to do it, you know, like I make a video in my house and you make a video in your country, and somehow we can put it all together, that would be really cool. And we can use a bit of AI at least for like special effects and stuff.
yeah, of course. I think we need to make it also like using memes and sarcasm because, you know, this generation really loves memes and sarcasm and whatever. You know, like we can do that to, you know, like spice it up a little bit, make them more interested, like, oh, what is this? You know, they start questioning. Once they start questioning, they will kind of get the idea, and slowly we're gonna get it viral.
Melina, hello.
Sorry,
Hi,
Angela.
so your comment section told me to unalive myself.
Oh, really? Who said that?
Please.
AZU.
Easy, you, huh? Okay. Muted.
Yeah.
Angela, I
He
just want
keeps
to
spamming
clear
the same
one
thing
point.
over and over again.
Got it. Thank you, Melina.
I want to clear one point. Angela seems to think that we can convert people like by making content, but no, we are not going to convert people to extinctionism. Extinctionists are like they have it in their brain. They don't need convincing. So we by our activism, we're most doing
Yeah,
what
it's
what we are,
finding the people,
yeah,
not convincing
it's
them.
finding, yeah, it's finding the extinctionists worldwide and uniting them. So we are not like trying to convert people or convince them, because it's probably gonna be irrational people like that. We need the most intelligent human beings to be part of this movement.
Yeah,
But
anyone that
making it
needs
viral-
convincing is not going to be rational enough to
Yeah.
help, basically.
But making it viral, you know, we'll pass it. Maybe like if we won't be able to do it, our next generation will be able to do it. You know, making it viral will make the message go on
Well,
and
yeah,
on.
we should try and go viral, and that's what I am doing, right?
Exactly. Yeah, we will. I'm really sure. I have big hope that this generation, there is many woke people, you know, like especially in healthcare, and people who've seen people suffering, people who went to wars or been somewhere where they really seen the real suffering. They have it in their heart.
Yeah, well, it's more in the brain, actually, right? It's about the ability to understand without getting confused, right? So people will be like, oh, maybe God allows the suffering, right? So you have to have the brain to understand that there is no God.
Yeah, exactly. It's always their first excuse. The first excuse I always hear is God. God did this, you know, to banish my sins. God did this because he wants me to go to heaven. God did this to my child, gave cancer to my child because he wants me and my child in heaven. God gave me this cancer that has no cure because I'm going to heaven.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, do you have any more questions?
Were you shoved in lockers at school? Is that why you hate being alive? 'Cause I'm fishing right now and having a good old time.
You're doing what?
No, bitch. I'm fishing. I'm having fun.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. We actually support fishing.
So then how is all life suffering if I'm having a good time and I have a good time on a pretty regular basis?
Nobody said all life is suffering and only selfish pieces of shit need it to be everyone in order to care, right? So if it takes all life suffering
Oh
for
my
you to
God.
care,
No,
then you're a
man.
terrible person.
You clicked on.
Have you ever tried Lexapro, buddy?
Say again?
Have you tried Lexapro?
I'm on Lexapro.
Yeah, me too. It's pretty awesome. I'm having a good old time pretty
That is
consistently.
going
I'm
too
on
far.
Lexapro, but I'm
Why don't we
blocked.
just give all the animals Lexapro and then we all have a good old time?
No, I'm on Lexapro, but I still have logic in my mind.
Who are you even?
I am a doctor.
Maybe you should go to work and you wouldn't be so nihilistic.
I finished my work and saved lives this morning, and now I'm here discussing about how we should end suffering.
Oh shit, I think I got a fish. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Right, just put that fish out of its suffering. Aldra, hello, do you have any questions?
Got men fighting over him. Oh my God.
Okay, it sounds like Aldra is suffering from something, so we're going to move on. Let's get some more people in. Okay, we've got Mr. Key coming up next. Onto the extinction zone. Hello. Hello. No, they left. Right, we've got Private Nuts coming up next. Loading them in 3, 2, 1. Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey man, how are you?
I'm good. Do you have any questions?
Oh yeah. So I kind of understand what you're saying. It's like one person's intense, massive suffering compared to like 99 people who are like
Any
like,
amount of any amount of people.
yeah, like
no
some,
amount of
like
billions
what-
of happy people still not acceptable for one person to suffer.
yeah. So aren't isn't there a way like isn't your kind of gripe more with like dictators and
No,
like
no. So if you get rid of
governments
all of
and-
the dictators, there'll still be cancer and depression, everything.
No, but like we're gonna have like universal income coming about soon.
Yeah,
apparently.
no, but that doesn't end
Like
all
10
suffering,
years.
right? That doesn't end all suffering. You. The thing is, we have to have a zero tolerance policy on allowing anyone to have a bad life, and that's only possible with
But
extinction.
when you say anyone, do you mean humans or do you mean animals as well?
Both.
Oh, sorry, the
No
voice
one
just be.
Yeah, no one deserves to suffer. So we should make it so that everybody is safe from suffering.
Oh, sorry, I didn't catch. But but what if it was just are you a vegan or?
No, but we do support the end of all animal suffering.
Okay, but so should humans disappear if we can't stop animal suffering?
We should try and stop animal suffering before we think about human extinction. Right, animals can't help themselves, so we should help them first.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. And then the other question was when you get to the end of it, like your goal is probably to stick around to the end. Like what happens at the end with you and the last few people?
We go down
who are
with the
around?
ship.
How do you plan on doing?
Yeah, we go down with the ship. Like,
Oh, how do you do that?
Yeah, we'll just find a way to do it. It doesn't matter how.
But what you talked about, like euthanasia and stuff, and so you do it through a euthanasia access to, because by that time you'd be able to get access to euthanasia.
So it won't be optional, right? Extinction will be mandatory, and it will be forceful. It will be total, and it will be as soon as possible.
Okay. So it's very anti kind of the creator of the universe.
Yeah. But look, if there is a creator of the universe and he wants to make more child abuse, then we're going to try and kill God if that's what it takes. Now, we don't think there is a God, but if we find one, we will be throwing a javelin into its heart for all of the suffering it's caused.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Bella. Yeah, that's what.
All right, thanks for coming up.
Cheers, man.
Private Nuts, everyone. Okay, yeah, we've got a couple of more people in the queue. Hello, Kane, how you doing? Mr. Kane, Michael Kane. No, gone. Okay, we have Penis Butler in the queue. No. Okay, we are now out of people, amazingly. They've all gone extinct, but perhaps some will reproduce and join the queue so we can get some more debates going.
We hope so.
I just want to say about this person who talked about God. God doesn't exist, and if it existed, we should end it. And as extinctionists, we are like a benevolent God. So we are the caretakers of all sentient beings, even like we don't just care about the praise or the victims. Everyone should be safe from suffering. The predators.
There is no God. There is no God, so we should do it, right? We should
Yeah.
take the place of God, basically.
Yes, we should take matters to our hand because we are the only known intelligent species. So our intelligence give us a moral obligation to save everyone.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Benny is back.
Hello.
Hello. Sorry, last time something happened. My question is, so you would agree that like the majority of humanity wouldn't want to die?
Well, the thing is that if you only care about the majority, then you allow infinite cruelty to the minority. So that's not acceptable.
Okay, but you still agree that like the majority of humanity, that wasn't my question, you know.
The thing is, when you ask about the majority of humanity, it's the survivors, right? All of those who committed suicide, all of the children that were murdered, etc. They're not going to be answering that poll because they're dead, basically, right? Or they're in dungeons being tortured right now.
That's a minority.
Yeah, exactly. So by that logic, you know, black people, if they're a minority, torture them. Anyone that's a minority, torture
but
them.
black people aren't a minority, though.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, by encouraging the persecution and victimization of the minority, you're being evil.
No, but I'm just saying, wouldn't it be selfish to force upon this will that you have upon the majority of humanity just for the minority?
Look, think of it this way: if there's two people raping a woman, is it selfish to stop that because the majority in that situation is the two men?
I mean, that's a situation that's unenjoyable for everyone if they came across two men
So
raping a woman.
the rapists are doing it because they don't enjoy it.
No, they enjoy it, but if anyone came across that, they wouldn't enjoy it and they would interfere to stop it.
Well, that's not true. Lots of people would come across that and join in, or they would cheer it on.
Okay.
So you're not living in the real
world. Would you say
world.
the majority would or not? Because you're looking at it. Like,
again, Benny, if the thing is that you're basically dodging the argument, right? If you only care about the majority, then you would happily support two people raping one person, right? Because the majority has decided that, right?
I mean, the thing is, like, just
tell us.
It's just irrational.
Just tell us.
Irrational,
no, I wouldn't support the rape, even if it's 2-on-1. Just say it.
In what world would
he can't do it? He can't say, "Yeah, you're right. Rape is wrong, even if it's the majority." He can't do it because he supports rape if it's the majority. I gave him like 5 chances. Just say, "Yeah, rape is wrong, even if it's the majority." Is it wrong? Is it okay if 2 people rape one person because that's the majority? He didn't answer, right? So yeah, he supports it.
Yeah. Also, the people who say that, like most people want to live, they are not making a conscious choice. They are programmed by nature to have this desire for life. It's not rational. It's
exactly.
it's just the DNA programming, and this irrational desire will cause a lot of suffering. So we should, the people who think rationally should be the ones making the decisions, not the ones who are blinded by evolution.
Like, can we overcome our extinction, guys? Like, we're no longer a caveman. We are no longer a caveman. Let's overcome our instinctions. Yes, it made us survive years ago, thousands of years ago, but now we don't need it. It's over.
Yeah, we needed to be selfish, to be cruel and evil to survive, right? The environment was too harsh. You had to be selfish to survive. If you were a kind animal, yeah, you're dead, basically. So humans have still got that, and we need to grow out of it, basically. But we also need to understand that it's a genetic thing, right? You can't encourage people to do better. You can do it, and yeah, the thing is that language works that way in a sense, right? We have to do that, but equally, we should understand that most people, even in the chat right now, will never be rational enough to help properly.
The caveman era is over, guys.
So we have to see it as a genetic thing, right? We have to see growing the movement as a genetic mission, right? The thing is, doing activism and making videos is a type of reproduction, right? Every time somebody watches my video and says, I agree, I'm going to join, I've done reproduction. But it's not easy to do that, right? The much more effective method is real reproduction, right? If you can donate sperm and have thousands of kids, that's much more effective than doing activism, right? It took, Steve basically got like one new activist a year, maybe 2 or 3. But, if you're reproducing and donating sperm or something, you could be having hundreds or thousands. I do see this as the future of the movement, that we will have factories pumping out kids, basically, or cloning people or something like that, right? There's going to have to be a genetic component. Potentially, one really far-fetched thing would be if we can actually improve the genetics of currently existing people and make them rational. That would be
Actually,
cool.
we've done this in animals and it worked. And right now, doctors are working to make it happen in humans. It's in process, but it already happened in animals. A successful one, a very successful one. So that's very possible.
I'll go back to the point of majority. I really hate this. They use it as an argument. What about the majority? If the majority agrees on torturing puppies, is a good thing, and only a minority is against that.
The thing is, they don't have the brains to decide anything without the majority. So it's like, I don't know. Just let the majority decide. So they say the majority because that's like, I don't want to think. We'll just let the majority decide.
These people would say to slave abolitionists, they would say them, oh, slavery is normalized. Everyone is okay with slavery. You're crazy for wanting to abolish slavery because the majority doesn't agree. It's the same thing. There is no fucking difference.
Yeah, it's like you're an atheist. Well, the majority says there is a God, so you must be crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's must be a large way that human thinking works. Is just, well, what does the majority think? Let's go with that.
Well, isn't that kind of like what Nietzsche said? He was like all on about like the minority and the strongest should have the will to power and the will. He also talked about the will to live, and you've been talking about the will to be good. The kind of like that's kind of what this is about. Extinction, this ethic of being good. But you also have this will to live, and I guess he talked about the will to power and stuff. What?
We don't really care about Nietzsche. Nietzsche wasn't really he didn't make an ethical theory
so that was my
or
question.
anything.
Sorry. Yeah. So I was going to ask, like, what philosopher has come closest, do you think, to this kind of idea?
None of them.
We're not about philosophy. We are about logic, rationality,
any kind of
doing the right thing.
Like no religion or no philosophers really kind of endorse this, except for cults that have kind of like committed suicide.
Can you name one cult which has been for extinction?
Oh, no.
Wow, not a single one. Amazing.
As a group.
There are philosophers who talk about this. But
They
they
probably
didn't
wanted
start a movement.
everybody to be in their cult.
Okay, but it's not a cult though. It's a movement. It's a different thing.
Yeah, it's a movement based
That's
on
probably what a cult
science,
is.
atheism.
No, cults actually don't call themselves movements.
Maybe
They call
I'm
themselves
not
like
sure.
families and like things like that, communities. So cults don't have any sort of like
But this is
rational.
So this is atheist, well, anti-theist,
We are an
there's
atheistic
no,
movement.
like
You have to be
atheistic.
an atheist to join our movement, otherwise you won't be allowed in.
What is atheism exactly compared to anti-theism? With
And anti-theism is
Christianity?
people that attack religion. Atheists are people that don't have religion.
Oh, well, what's the difference between agnostic and atheist?
Agnostics
For
are
you.
people. Agnostics are people that are on the fence. They think there probably is a god, but they're not 100% sure.
They can decide.
Yeah.
Well, they're just not sure. So, okay, but you've made the decision. Okay, cool. Okay, yeah. Sorry, man. Just try to keep up. I'll rejoin probably soon. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Private Nuts.
Visit
It's
our
been-
website and read the manifesto. There is also the commonly asked questions and their answers to learn more.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you guys hear me? Hi.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess before like I talk about the claim or debate the claim, I just like need to understand a little bit of framing. Like when you say total extinction, what does that mean? Like, are you trying to get humans to override their right to life, or like override
So
their rights, basically?
we want to grow the movement until we have enough people to take over the world, start doing animal extinction, start researching how to prevent life coming back on Earth and maybe beyond Earth, potentially even doing the whole universe, right? Making it uninhabitable. And as soon as we've helped those that can't help themselves, like animals, then we'll think about human extinction. So human extinction is the last to go.
Sorry, just to clarify, your advocacy is that you plan to get like a majority of human beings onto the
No,
movement
I never
of
said a majority. I never said a majority. We'll take power even with a minority if we can.
Okay, so when you take power, you plan to convince human beings or the minority. You're trying to just convince people to like trying to overturn their belief into that they should be extinct, correct?
No, the thing is, we don't expect them to ever understand that they should be extinct, because in the same way that like a monkey would never understand that, humans are the same, right? A cat, a dog is never going to understand that it should actually die.
So what you're trying to propose is the idea is that human beings cannot understand extinction.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
And you're going to have a really difficult time arguing against that because it's actually true.
Yeah, I mean, that's understandable. I just kind of like want to ask, like, I guess another thing is like how would you feel about existence? like how would you weigh through existence? I guess if that makes sense. Like, if we can't experience anything at all, then like how are we able to engage with it? Like with the claim?
Wait, what?
Sorry.
The thing is, most humans will not be able to engage with it, whereas a tiny minority who have genetically mutated to have better brains, basically, will be able to understand it, and that's us.
So there's genetic superiority?
Yes.
Okay.
That's how evolution works. Didn't you know that?
I mean, I do know that, but I think in like an era as modern as we are, I think the difference is so minimal that I think it's like
it's a very big difference, right?
Big difference.
You have irrational humans, and then you have rational humans. That's a gigantic difference.
You have humans that are okay with billions of years of oceans of suffering, and you have humans who are saying no, who don't accept this, who want to fix the mistake of life. So this is a big fucking difference.
Okay. Well, like, I don't know. I feel like I can't really get on this live because like my whole purpose was like, I guess, to like engage with the claim, I guess, to like not argue, but like debate against you. And I feel
you can do that. You're welcome to do that. Just tell us why extinction would be bad.
Okay, right. Okay. So I guess I'll like give like three big framing principles that I believe in. Like the first one is going to be that like basically existence is like, existing is better than experiencing pain, if that makes sense. Secondly, I'm going to be talking about the means, not necessarily just the ends of what we're doing, right? And then thirdly, I'll be talking about basically on like why necessarily that you have to prove, like you must prove that extinction is needed to prevent all suffering, not necessarily just something that can achieve it, if that makes sense. So something that's not like merely sufficient enough.
Yeah,
to
that's
achieve it.
easy. We can do that easily.
Okay. All right. I want to start on my first claim a little bit. So like if there is nothing alive, then we must not experience anything at all, correct?
Probably, yeah.
Okay, so if there's no experiences at all, then like again, without experiences, we're not able to suffer. But also in that same essence, we're not also able to experience pleasure, right? I weigh under the belief of like utilitarianism, right? I believe that we must evaluate life through the pain, or we like must evaluate life under the idea that pleasure outweighs pain. Oftentimes we'll find that throughout the average human life that we actually do see that pleasure outweighs pain.
So if someone rapes a child to death, then you just assume that the pleasure outweighed the pain. What the fuck?
I'm not necessarily, but you're strawmanning my argument. I'm saying that the average human being,
you've given a
I'm saying that the
generalization
average
that you
human
apply
being,
to
even those
everything.
within the minority that you believe in, oftentimes.
Quiet. So you've given a general rule to apply to everything, right? The pleasure will always outweigh the pain. So I'm just giving you an example of where that obviously fails, right? So you can't say this is the system for everyone, right? Yeah, just pleasure always outweighs the pain. I'm asking you how the hell does that work when, somebody gets murdered?
Well, right. They can't experience pleasure or pain when they're murdered. That's the whole purpose. That existence precedes that experience.
Pain. Most people that get murdered do suffer during the murder.
Right, but then they don't suffer post-murder. They don't experience anything post-murder as well.
Kane, that doesn't cancel out all the suffering that they did experience, right? Because by that logic, if you think about it, you're effectively saying that if you kidnap a child and rape it for months and months and years even, then it's okay as long as you kill it at the end.
That's not necessarily what my advocacy is.
That is absolutely what you're saying.
Because what you're doing is you're taking an extreme example and trying to make a fool of my framework, which isn't what I'm advocating for.
Why do you think that
you're not
pleasure
able
has
to
more value?
argue against extreme examples? Then you're not able to defend reality, right? Yeah. Reality has extreme examples, and if we're going to use a valid one, and you're going to say, "Oh no, that's not nice," you use a softer one. Then you're strawmanning. You want to argue against a stubbed toe, basically. We're not going to let you do that.
And the absence of pleasure is neutral, but the absence of suffering is a good thing. So his assumption that we should maximize the pleasure. Also, these pleasures are what? They are basically just desires that are being fulfilled and needs and deprivations that didn't need to exist. So they are already imposed. So why are you trying to maximize something that was already imposed on you and thinking that you're doing something good?
Hello.
Yo, I've been on this live before, but I wanted to ask something. Do you think it's possible to make like a utopia like society to where like everything could be like under control and like things wouldn't suffer or like animals and stuff?
No, we don't think so.
No. All right, well, I can't really argue against like the extinction part, but I guess that's the only argument someone can make is that if there's a better alternative.
No, that's actually not. We've already debunked that argument. Actually, it's most people's go-to, but we can easily debunk it now. The thing is that without omniscience, there's going to be infinite unknowns, infinite risks and dangers. And any system that you can have can go infinitely wrong in infinite different ways. So the only way for life to exist and for us to agree with it is if there's certainty of safety. And only omniscience can provide that, the ability to see the future and to say, yeah, it's going to be fine. So anything less than that is infinite danger and risks infinite suffering, right? If you go by that standard and say, well, yeah, the simulation that John built last week, everyone's having a great time so far, so it must be fine. Then you walk into the simulation and, oh, there's a problem. Guess what? You're tortured for millions of years because it went wrong. So that's what people will do, with the current mentality of just not caring about suffering, not caring about risks and dangers. So we have to have the highest standards of safety possible, which is certainty of safety. Yeah, because again, the alternative is infinite danger.
It's like gambling. They are gambling with the
So
welfare
you're
of
saying even
sentient
if there
beings.
was like some perfect society that got made, it could still just get overtaken one day.
Yeah, it could go wrong, right? It could change. It could end up suffering. So it's not worth it.
Yeah, I hear that. All right, well, that's all I had to say.
All right. Thank you for coming up. Okay, if anybody else wants to join and have a debate, ask any questions, then now is the time to do so. There's lots of people in the chat, as usual, who are happy to criticize us, but don't want to say it to our faces. All right, let's see if there is any interesting comments in the chat to respond to. James, you're getting wars in the chat, battles breaking out. We need some mods. Okay, let's turn our eyes to the comments in the chat box section.
Okay.
James, do you support suicide? No. We're against suicide, we're against self-harm, and we're against violence. We need more humans to end all suffering, not just our own, not just human suffering. Animals first.
Someone wrote, forceful extinction isn't your choice. Well, life isn't your choice, and natural death isn't your choice. Suffering isn't your choice. So extinction is the most rational thing that you can do, because you're going against nature, you're going against evolution. You are like
Life will
suppressing.
take away your choices, it will trap people into lives of hell. Extinction just corrects that problem. It just returns things to zero, to nothing, so that there is no horrific suffering.
True.
Okay, once again, we have nobody in the queue right now. So if anyone has any questions, then let's hear them. Benny, hello.
James.
That's me.
Forceful extinction, it kind of sounds like something else, right?
Like what?
To me, that sounds like rape. It sounds like you're forcing someone to do something that they don't want to do.
Yeah, but that's already happening. So that's going to happen much worse unless we do extinction.
So you want to rape more people?
No, so what do you think would have more rape? Life continuing on for billions of years, or not doing that?
But why don't you advocate for killing
That's strike one for dodging that question.
rapists,
So let's see if you
stopping
can answer that
rapists?
question. You're on strike one. Let's see if you'll answer it.
But you don't give out this.
That's strike two. That's strike two. Okay, so what's going to have more rape? Billions of years of life.
You're on
or
a power
extinction?
trip. James,
Say
you're on
again?
a power trip. You're on a power trip.
That's
okay?
strike three. Benny cannot answer the question. Look, a lot of people cannot answer questions when it comes to extinction, and if you force them to answer it, then they won't, right? And this is because they can't. This is direct evidence and proof that we are genetically superior, because our genetics allow us to answer these questions, whereas nature has overridden the logic in the brain of most humans with survival instinct and selfishness, and it prevents them from being able to answer these questions. So that is one of the differences between rational and irrational brains, right? A rational brain can answer pretty much any question, whereas an irrational brain will dodge, change subject, gaslight. And the thing is that they're actually gaslighting themselves, but you end up getting gaslit in the process because their brain is gaslighting them. It's lying to them. Literally, it's tricking them. It's saying, oh, extinction would cause more suffering. And so they end up saying stupid stuff like that. But again, we shouldn't be angry at them. They can't help it. Hello.
Hi, James. I've just come across your live on my FYP. To be honest, I've never heard of this conversation before. I've recently left religion. I'm an atheist now, and I'm just listening, just thinking, "Whoa, this is interesting." It's kind of made me think. I'm just wondering, like, I actually hear where you're coming from, but I'm just thinking, like, how do we achieve that? How does that work? Like, how do we get every person, every part of the earth to go extinct? And then what tools are going to be used in order to achieve
Yeah,
that?
so we just get as many people as we can on our team, on our side, and then we try and do it, basically, however we have to. So we're growing the movement with peaceful activism until we have enough people to find a way to take over the world, whether it's by AI taking over the world or out reproducing the rest of the world and replacing them with genetically more rational people like ourselves. We have lots of plans in process, lots of plans that we're actually working on, researching and pushing forward. So there's actually lots of ways that we can be successful. But no, we won't be asking everyone to agree. We expect the majority to always disagree and that we should do it anyway, right? So if we have to wipe out the majority against their will, it's the right thing to do, because if you wait for a majority forever, you could be waiting forever and giving up all of your opportunities to cause extinction, just so that the majority can have fun and be happy. So we have to be prepared to go against the majority, and a lot of people struggle with that because they can't think for themselves, so they just say, oh, well, the majority doesn't agree. So, but yeah, the thing is, in the same way that animals will run away if you're trying to put them to sleep, humans are going to do the same thing, and it is actually the exact same process that goes on between animals and humans, right? They don't understand that it's actually in their own best interest, and they're not able to understand it either. So yeah, we can't give humans, that much more respect than animals in that sense. And we definitely can't respect their decisions, their autonomy, their consent, because they'll make the wrong decisions, right? We have to make those decisions for them. We can't allow them to live, otherwise they'll end up suffering and they'll end up reproducing. So it's not about sterilizing the generation. That only protects the next generation. Euthanasia helps everyone who's begging for death today and all of those that would be tomorrow. So yeah, we have to put them to sleep and take them away from the suffering from this world.
But how do we achieve that? Like, say we got a bunch of people that are, planning to do this. How do we achieve that? Like, say, I don't know. This is my first time ever thinking about this, but let's say everyone takes a certain pill that causes everyone to die for sure, right? And then we all go, like, some people end up going extinct, and then some people run away and say they can't do it. Like, how do we?
Well, I think
Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's a lot of people ask that question, but realistically, it's going to be very easy to solve that problem. Look, even if we just, all of the last people go into a room that's slowly, being pressed down or something, right? We can do it automatically, right? So you don't have to pull the trigger yourself. There's lots of ways to do it in a more automatic way.
can you tell me what are the ways in an automatic way that you're like?
That's not our
how would that
focus
work?
right now. We're not focusing on the methods. We're not obsessing over them. We
I
are
can't help but
focused on
think it.
growing. But if you want to help, maybe you should start doing activism first, because we need people. We need to find all the extinctionists. The methods, the science will decide which are the best methods that we are going to use. So we can't see we can see what's in the future. We cannot.
Yeah, but in
guess.
terms of how do we make sure we get the very last human,
Yeah.
we think that'll be very easy. We're not worried about that being a serious problem.
We will make it happen.
Yeah.
Right, okay, interesting. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks for coming up. Consider reading our website. There's much more explanations on our website, proextinction.com, and you can find the link to that on my profile, so you can just click on it. Okay, we've got lots of people in the queue. Let's try and get them all up. Let's see who we've got. Try and get through all of them. Got Grouchy Puppy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. So, when you watch Star Wars, are you like, I fucking love the Death Star?
Yeah.
who is this? You're a fucking loser.
Star Wars is a great film. I don't know why you would think that makes me a loser. Hello, how you doing?
Hello, I'm good. I'm actually here to agree with you. I actually just made a video about this. I've made several videos about this. Been saying this since I was a kid. I think that people are saying all this Holocaust stuff and all of this crap. The thing is, the Holocaust would never have happened if humans went extinct way long ago. We wouldn't have slavery, wouldn't have suffering. We wouldn't even you know, the thing is, like, these bodies, these vessels themselves are a burden. The fact that we have to live and have disease and stuff, like, all of us are pretty much guaranteed to get some kind of disease.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a prison fucking planet. And a lot of people are too brainwashed and they're too afraid to just deal with the fact that we're in hell and that we're not supposed to be here. You just look around you. This is not supposed to happen. We'd be much better where we were before we were born, which is bliss, because the opposite of suffering is bliss. So
Yeah.
I'm just here to fucking agree.
Yeah. Now, the only difference is that we have to make sure nobody suffers. So traditionally, throughout the last 20, 30 years, people have always had the same opinion that the solution for this is to just not have kids. But that
Right.
doesn't stop animal suffering. It doesn't protect any other children. It only helps your own child. So we propose actively making sure that nobody suffers, right? Whereas antinatalism just hopes that will happen. We shouldn't hope, we shouldn't dream, we should actively plan and take action to work towards a system which helps everyone. So animal extinction, total human extinction, forceful, right? If you don't do it forcefully, then humanity will just continue on reproducing and causing more suffering. So we have to use force to defend the victims of suffering. Otherwise, force will be used against them to make them suffer.
Well, the same thing, that the method they use, I know this is kind of grotesque, but with Jonestown, they would make sure the kids were done first and the parents had nothing to live for. But that's another way that could happen. But anyway, if you don't have a kid, I believe that the soul goes to another fallopian tube. So even if you don't have a kid, the child will be born anyway. So that's a good point. But I think
we're also an atheistic movement. So that's the main difference. I understand that you're a prison planet person. There's a big community of prison planet people, but they're all spiritual, essentially, which means that they're not rational enough to actually, work towards a universal system to protect everyone. Hello, how you doing? Hello? Yeah, hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand this correctly, because I might be missing something. So you're talking about, let's see, forceful total extinction. So is the end goal to end all life on the planet, including humans, whether or not they consent?
Yeah, and beyond Earth as well, potentially.
And the purpose is to alleviate suffering, right?
To end suffering, prevent suffering, yeah.
Well, I know you just had somebody ask, like, how are you going to do it? And you didn't have an answer for them. So you're proposing
euthanasia, right? Putting them
what
to sleep.
specifically? Are you going to inject them? Or are you going to cut their throats?
It doesn't make much difference, does it? What difference does it make?
Okay, listen. Here's the situation.
No, that's strike one. Answer that question, otherwise you're out.
Wait, what was the question?
What difference does it make?
What difference does it make whether
you
it's
just spent the last 60 seconds yabbering on about this, so why should we even care? Now, you very well probably don't have a reason to even care about it yourself. So that's why I'm asking.
Okay, but your question is...
That's strike two.
Dude.
So what difference does it make what method we use for extinction?
Will you let me talk?
That's strike three. Thank you for coming up.
Okay, you're a coward.
Yeah, instead of answering the question, he said, let me talk. That's strike three. Okay, moving on. We've got Mr. Ghost coming up next. And then we'll get Mollian. Hello, how you doing?
Hey. Hey, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
So I have just been following you for some time, and as someone who personally suffers from clinical depression, I can get your point that life is indeed unbearable and just overall miserable. But I would like to know more about you, because obviously you hate the existence of life so much that you want to make this forceful total extinction.
No, that's a misconception. So extinctionists don't hate the world and don't hate life. It's that we have compassion for others and don't want anybody to suffer. So it's out of selflessness, not selfishness.
I see. So if I may ask, when did this exactly start from you? Like, what enhanced this idea? What made it come up in the first place? Like, did it start from a very long time, or did
The movement
happen
started.
in your
The
life?
movement started 4 years ago, and I joined 1 year ago. And it's most people in the movement have a higher level of intelligence, basically. So and we can immediately understand that religion is nonsense, for example, whereas most people can't. And when I was
Yeah, yeah,
invited
of
to the
course.
movement, it was immediately obvious to me that extinction was the right thing to do.
I see. Okay. Yeah. Oh, that was all. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but like when I was growing up, I felt different, right? And I was trying to. The world never felt right to me. And when I was invited to the extinction movement, everything started to make sense. And I think that's the case for lots of our members in the movement,
Yes,
right?
me too.
This is working towards a rational world, basically, whereas we live in an irrational world right now. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Yeah, so is it just total extinction of every single life form? Like
Yeah.
animals, everything living?
We ideally, the best case scenario would be a universe with no life and no possibility of life ever again.
What about like bugs and stuff that like don't really have like sentience or like proper sentience like us?
Every life form, including bacteria and bugs, the way that it works is that they evolve to get more complex and bigger. And so if anything doesn't suffer now, it will evolve to start suffering.
That's fair. Let me think of what else I want to ask. So, I don't know, like, you just want to die? This is sad.
No, we want to stop children and animals and people from being tortured. That's not sad. That's heartwarming. That's wholesome.
Okay. Yeah, and life is the cause of
wholesome.
death. We will, by ending all life, we will end both suffering and death.
Yeah.
You're making me sad.
Sorry?
You're making me sad.
Well, yeah. So selfish people do get sad about the idea that there'll be no more torture. Sadists will
Hey,
be
I'm
sad
not
about
selfish.
that.
No, I'm not saying it like that.
Child
It's
abusers
just-
will be sad that there'll be no more suffering. Psychopaths will be sad that there's no more suffering. But
No,
the
I like this
sufferers,
concept,
the
I get it.
sufferers are going to be cheering, celebrating, and that's we should care about those who are suffering, not those who are selfish and want the suffering to continue because it's not happening to them.
You know what's sadder? Like watch videos of people being like having bone cancer. Watch videos of animals being eaten alive in hours. So there is a lot of horror that you can be sad about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just want to ask that one question. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Annabelle. And we're sorry if nobody having to suffer makes you sad, but it is the right thing to do, I assure you. Okay, we've got the Malian from Attack on Titan coming up next. Hello, Malian. How is your rumbling going?
The rumbling, it's it's not good. How is yours going?
Good. Yeah, very good. We're getting lots of people on board, prepared to help us carry out the rumbling. Total rumbling and total prevention of Malians or any life ever again.
I'm actually really really excited that you know this. That's really cool.
It's a good anime.
It's a good one, right? But no, I think you're definitely really smart, dude. You're so smart. I do want to give you props for that. I see you talking to people and they just they just can't keep up with what you're putting down. But I do hope that this is just a phase for you and you find something else to put your smart into.
Well, convince me. Give me a reason to.
I don't think I'll have to. I think you'll eventually find something else to move on to that'll be like, more beneficial. Because I've seen your mental decline. I've been looking at these lives that you do for a long time, and it's like slowly getting worse and worse. Like your mental health is suffering.
There is
And
nothing more beneficial than caring about all suffering and preventing it. So this is not a phase where we shouldn't be like selfish asshole. We say like, oh, no, I was depressed, so I cared about suffering. Now I'm no longer depressed, so let all the animals and humans suffer. Fuck
so
them.
you care about suffering a lot, I'm assuming, because your name is Suffering.
Yeah, it's the only thing I care about.
That's so the thing you care about the most is suffering. That's crazy.
Yeah, so like if there's a child abuser and a child being abused, in that situation, we're going to care about the suffering, not the pleasure. It's crazy, I know.
So you only, I asked you this earlier. You only see reality in terms of suffering and pleasure. Like that's all you're able to see. That's all.
So yeah, you would say, yeah, forget the suffering. Let's just think about everything else.
I mean,
who cares if a child is being raped? Just think about the pleasure the abuser is having.
This is literally
we have to think
just
beyond the suffering.
Okay.
like
so
the video
you see a child being raped, and you're like, let's kill everything.
No. We see a child being raped, and we say we should stop that. You say, think of all the other stuff going on apart from the suffering.
What have you done to stop that,
abuser.
James? What have you ever done to stop that, dude?
We are
what have you ever done to stop that?
Activism.
What have you done? Tell me.
Activism.
He done so
what is
much.
that? What activism? How have you helped stop a child from being raped?
Yeah, so we're doing activism to make sure that it never happens again.
How are you doing this?
We will make it
I'm making videos, you blind, crazy person, right? If you're unaware of the fact that I'm making videos and debating people and educating people and growing the movement, then I feel bad for your mental capacity if you're unaware of how growing a movement works. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Do you know my age or anything?
How old are you?
25.
That's too young. You have to be over 35 for TikTok.
But what?
No, I'm joking. Do you have any questions today?
Oh yeah, I just don't see the view as motivating. It seems like when we look at life, there's a pretty strong inductive case to be made that when we value life, it's going to be the types of things that we're experiencing or going to experience.
Yeah. So not caring about other people, not caring about anyone else, basically.
What?
So you're saying we should only care about what we care about?
No, that's not what I said at all. I'm not sure where you heard that.
That's what it sounded like.
No, I'm saying that there's a strong inductive case to be made. It seems like when we look at life, it's going to be, the fact that we have some type of future experiences, some type of future, maybe even valuable experiences, non-valuable experiences that are going to be relevant such that it's worth living. And if it's the case that
if you can't just say there might be something that excuses child abuse in the future, right? But by that logic, I could stab you in the face and say, maybe 100 years from now, some scientist will look back and say, yeah, that one time James stabbed somebody in the face, that was actually a good thing.
What
is that the system you think we should have?
Is
that the system you think we should have? That anyone can just do any crime
No, the system
at
I think
any
that we
time
should
and say, well, maybe in the future it will be justified. Maybe.
No. I didn't say that we could justify it. I'm saying that it's the case that we could still value a future after that, and that seems like it's the reason why we would say that your view is false, right?
Sounds like
it seems
philosophy brain rot. You're not making any sense.
This is a philosophical conversation.
Just
extinctionism is a philosophical view. Are you okay? Like this is your view, and you don't understand it's philosophical.
Just give your point in one sentence.
I did give my point. Did you not track any of it?
I've asked in one sentence. No, I didn't
Okay.
track.
It seems like extinctionism leads to this type of view that doesn't value life at all, such that it'd be willing to say that life shouldn't exist. Well, that just seems to completely ruin, not ruin. That seems to completely devalue what life is at all. It seems to have a big question mark on why we even live.
Life is only a biological mechanism. It's an accident.
Wow, thanks for that very trivial.
Yeah, it has no grand
point.
purpose. What? Give me the purpose of life.
I think everybody has a different purpose of
replicate.
life.
Yeah, child abusers have a purpose. So you would say, yeah, do whatever you want.
No, I'd say that child abusers could also wait. I mean, that's
yeah,
not.
Exactly.
I don't think that's
you
their
would.
Purpose.
You do.
No,
you
no,
don't give a shit.
That's
you think
not their purpose.
If your purpose is child abuse, go for it. That's what you support.
That's
right?
incoherent. I don't think that's somebody's purpose.
Then you're lying to yourself. If you really
How
think
am I
that
lying to
nobody's
myself?
life revolves around children being abused, then you are incredibly dishonest, right? Incredibly dishonest. There are lots of people around the world whose entire life does revolve around abusing children. That is a fact. That is an absolute fact. Their entire life completely revolves around it. And you're just denying the fact that this is happening, denying the fact that child abuse exists, denying the experience of the victims.
And he's saying like the value of life, the value comes from the capacity of a sentient being to experience feelings of suffering. It's not about life existing.
Okay, hello, how you doing?
Hi, how you doing?
Yeah, good. How are you?
So you think talking about this subject is kind of risky, considering if kids watch this and they think that you're correct,
collateral damage. But the thing is that we're against suicide.
You're not scared of that? You're not scared of that situation?
No. But we're against suicide. We're against self-harm. We encourage people to continue living so that we can help others.
But people could misconstrue this.
Yeah. People can misconstrue anything.
Your idea of life is disgusting.
Yeah, people can misconstrue anything. That's not a reason. Look, that's like going up to a police officer and saying, someone could misconstrue what you're doing, so just quit your job now and go home. Right? It's not going to happen. We're not going to fall for that trick, right? We're not falling for those tricks. Hello, how you doing?
Man? I'm doing great. Just before we get into the debate, your eyes are crazy, bro.
Thank you.
Like in a good way. I forget what it's called.
I get good compliments and insults on my eyes. Some people say I have crazy eyes.
Yeah, I meant crazy in like a good way though. I'm super interested in your beliefs.
Okay.
How did you come to this?
I was invited to the movement a year ago. I joined it and started learning about it, started doing activism and making videos to grow the movement.
You don't think it's a little nihilistic though?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think nihilism's productive?
Why not?
I mean, like you're working, like what are you working towards? Like what do you just would like a quick, swift end to everything?
No, we're working towards making as much of the world as uninhabitable as possible.
But
so beyond Earth potentially.
That's kind of what like I meant by whenever I said that. Like, so you would prefer if like every nuclear weapon on Earth like just sort of wiped everything out like at once? No.
No, so we don't want to rush the extinction. We need to do the most intelligent and the most fair extinction possible. So that means essentially determining how much of the world and how uninhabitable we can make it. So can we do the entire universe? Can we make it impossible for life to ever exist again? We have to see, how far we can take it.
So you okay.
Look, we might only be able to do Earth, in which case we'll just do that. But if we can do beyond it, we should.
Come to the conclusion that Earth is the only thing that's possible, then you would be fine with that.
Yeah.
But so why do you believe that that's like equitable?
Because we shouldn't allow bad lives, right? Most people don't care how many bad lives there are, how much suffering there is, and indeed they wouldn't care if everybody was begging for death. But even one person having a bad life is unacceptable, right? So in the same way that child abuse should be unacceptable, bad lives should also be unacceptable. And the only way to enforce the right thing there is with total extinction.
And how do we quantify bad lives?
We don't need to.
Why?
Because it's just unnecessary. We know there are bad lives, and that's enough.
Yeah, but I think that if you're going with something as extreme as like total nihilism to all life, you need to quantify why.
No, we don't. No, we don't. Actually.
But you're not sort of like given like a good reason as to why. You're just saying
well,
we don't because we
fine.
don't.
Yeah, I mean, look. So some people are going to agree. Some people are going to disagree. It's not about logic. It's actually about your level of empathy. So do you care and say, yeah, no one deserves to suffer? Yeah, you're right. Or is it like, who cares if anyone suffers? Let's have some fun instead. Those are kind of the two options.
I was going to say something. What? Can you repeat the start of that sentence again? Because it's going to jog my memory. What did you say again? So
yeah, you've got two options. You can either say like
before that. I completely forget the whole two options things. I was talking to you about why you don't think it's necessary to quantify bad lives.
Well, we already know that there are bad lives, so even one is too many.
Yeah,
so
but what if my definition of a bad life is completely different to yours entirely?
Then that doesn't change the fact that bad lives exist.
Yeah, so what's a bad life?
Use your own brain.
You see, I'm kind of disappointed, because your stuff's kind of falling apart right now.
You're feeling disappointed, but what's actually happening? Let's break down the science of what's going on behind his eyeballs right now. So essentially, he's not able to run the process, to calculate, to do the thought process, right? And so his brain is pushing him further and further away from reason and sense.
But I have zero, and everybody in this life has zero clue exactly what you're quantifying as a bad life, and you don't care.
But the thing is, you're saying, you need to prove bad lives exist, right?
The reason you don't care to quantify it is because it would completely defeat your argument.
Okay, you're yapping. Okay, so let's close that for a second. So again, it is irrational to suggest that bad lives don't exist. So that just doesn't make sense. We don't need to quantify it or anything like that. We know they exist.
According to your view, I have no clue if a bad life exists. You could think a bad life is just someone.
So you can't say if bad lives exist.
A bad life?
So let me ask you another question: is child abuse bad?
Yeah, it is.
Why? Can you prove it?
I think harm is bad. I would quantify something bad as in like causing harm.
Okay, can you prove that's bad? Right? Can you prove that's bad?
Yeah, according to my own logic, yeah.
Yeah, so no, basically, right, is the answer. And you shouldn't need to either.
Can I prove that a definition fits something? Like what? Like, is this really?
No, just be quiet for a second, right? So we don't need to prove that bad lives exist. It's just a well-known fact that they do.
No, because you asked me what is my definition of a bad life. Like you asked me.
No, I didn't say that.
No, well,
you're misremembering.
You asked me to prescribe whether something was bad and then prove whether it was bad. I already prescribed it was bad, therefore it's bad to me.
You said, basically, I'm unable to prove that child abuse is bad, but yeah, it obviously is. And so, yeah, that's kind of the same thing that we do when we say, yeah, bad lives exist and it's bad.
So therefore you think there's like a universal objective morality? Sorry, I didn't make that leap.
The thing is that you're essentially trying to avoid actually thinking about this yourself.
No, I've already told you what I think about this myself.
That's what people do.
You're saying that everybody ever thinks this. That's what you just said.
Say again?
You're saying that everybody ever would think this. Like you're saying that no matter.
I never said that. You're just making things up.
No, you're saying that everybody thinks this. You said that everybody.
No, you're just making things up now.
No, I'm not, because
I never said everybody thinks this. Okay, you're just unable to stay grounded in reality, right?
Yeah, it's not about. It's not about what we think. It's a fact happening, like an animal being eaten alive is a bad experience happening. You don't need to people agree that it's a bad experience. It just is. You can see the animal struggling and screaming in agony, and they want that experience to stop and not happen.
Okay, let's see who else we've got.
Yo, James Ido. Yeah.
Can I help you? Are you suffering today?
No, I'm having a great day, man.
Privileged.
Yeah. Why do you believe that? Like, what would be your method to stop all suffering? I ask.
Extinction.
How would we achieve that?
With science and technology and people.
Yeah, but how would we make people extinct? Because natural way is for people to procreate, right?
Yeah, we'll put them to sleep or put them out of their misery.
Yeah, what would that be, consensual or unconsensual?
Unconsensual.
Alright, so I mean, like, I just view that as immoral. And I don't know,
Right.
I believe in objective morality, like, based on Christian God, right? I'm curious why your position is atheistic and, you know, yeah, why, like...
So hang on, do you think bad lives are okay? Acceptable?
Well, what would you define as a bad life?
Just, the thing is, right, so you're making the same mistake the last guy did. And the thing is that rationally, there is no need to ask for the definition of a bad life. The thing is that their brain is actually preventing them from understanding what a bad life is.
Alright.
So that's
Yeah.
why they're asking for the definition, because they can't produce it themselves. They can't
No, so-
do the thinking themselves.
Can I just ask? So you believe that there's just objectively bad lives?
Again, it's obvious to everyone what a bad life is, right? Whereas you're unable to think about it. Your brain is not letting you think about it.
Okay, I mean, first of all, that's like ad hominem, but
No,
you believe
it's
that they're
scientific,
objectively
not ad
bad
hominem.
lives. You believe they're objectively the bad lives, yeah? Yes or no? Like,
we don't need to deal in objectives, do we?
well, I'm just asking you if you believe that it's an objectively bad life. Like, it's a simple question, like yes or no.
We don't need to make things don't need to be objective.
Why?
For example, I can say child abuse is bad without having to prove it objectively.
No, I believe that.
Is child abuse bad?
Yeah, inherently and objectively.
And what makes it objectively bad?
It's sinful. It deviates from God's love and His plan.
Okay, so basically, that's what he just said. Okay, let's see. Do we have anybody else? Okay, hello, how you doing?
Wonderful.
Amazing.
What gives you the right to stop life from existing?
Yeah, a brain. A brain gives us the right to make decisions and to decide things. Yeah.
Yeah, but why are you morally correct?
Because it's we've concluded that essentially it's wrong to allow bad lives anymore.
Why?
Because it's not fair.
Why? That's everything.
What do you mean? Why that's everything? I don't.
Are you atheist?
Yeah.
So you don't believe there's anything after this?
No.
So this is everything. Why would you stop everything?
Because everything is full of child abuse and extreme suffering, torture, lives of hell.
Do you think that you can feel anything without suffering?
I think that, a child being raped to death, for example, would be better off not feeling anything.
Yeah, that's an extreme example. In general, though.
When you say that's an extreme example, are you saying that we should just forget that children being raped to death exist because it's an extreme thing?
Do you think that's what I asked you?
That's strike one.
Strike one?
Are you going to answer that question, or are we going to move on to somebody else?
Oh, I didn't know we were being disingenuous today. Okay.
No, I've asked you a question. You're dodging it.
No, of
Okay,
course I don't think that's...
We'll just move on to strike three. He's never going to answer any questions honestly, so we'll try and find somebody that will. Okay, let's see who else we got. Hello, how you doing? No? Okay. We've got Jay in the queue. Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Oh, yeah. So prior to this, you said, or like a few conversations ago, you said your argument's not based in logic. So presumably your argument exposes a contradiction then.
No, so it is based in logic, but it doesn't solely...
so you take back that statement.
I was still speaking?
Well, it's just that...
Okay,
you said
thanks.
before that
Yeah,
you did
look,
it,
if
and
you're not going to have a respectful conversation and you're not going to listen to anything I'm saying, then we're just going to move on. Right? This is not your show, right? If you're going to speak over the host, you're going to get kicked out, right? Just obviously. All right, let's see who else we've got. Okay, user 838. Bringing them up next. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Yeah, do you have any questions?
Hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think.
Actually, sadly, no. Actually, we can't hear you. You seem to have really bad internet. Okay, we're going to move on to the next person. We've still got lots of people to get through in the queue. Hello. Hello, how you doing? No. Okay. Do we have anybody else? We've got Lucas. We've got... Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yes, hello.
Hi, so is the view essentially that all suffering is bad? And if it's the case that all suffering is bad, then, we should just extinct lives?
It's not that all suffering is bad. It's that suffering, if you allow suffering, it's unacceptable, really, right? The thing is, some people will have good lives and then some people will have bad lives, and that's not fair.
Okay, well, that's just an invalid inference then.
Say again?
That's an invalid inference.
Why?
Because the premises don't equal the conclusion. I mean, presumably I could agree suffering is bad and still say that extinction is wrong. That's why it's an
Okay, but
invalid
do you think it's fair for people to live a terrible life so that others can have a good life?
No, but saying that somebody's having a terrible life doesn't entail that I should extinct people that have good lives. That's the issue.
Okay, well, obviously there's more to it than that, right? The thing is, if we're going to make sure that
What's the
nobody
missing premise?
if we're going to make sure that nobody is suffering, then the only way to do that is with total extinction. And there's really no point having life exist if it's going to suffer.
Wait, but that's problematic. You just to be clear, you just conceded that not all suffering is bad. So that's also problematic to your view.
It's not. Look, philosophy has just rotted your brain to the point where you're not able to think properly. Okay, let's see if we've got anybody else. Yeah, look, if you don't think suffering is bad, then you're crazy, basically. You can't think properly. Hello, how you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, man. Oh, my Wi-Fi is generally terrible. I'm so sorry, James. Just kick me. I don't think it's going to work.
Fair enough. Look, some people are suffering too much to even do a live stream. Just further proof that we need extinction. All right, moving on. We've got Binky, we've got Stick, we've got Cooked, Lucas. Let's see who's going to be the next guest. Dun, dun, dun. Hello. Hello. Okay, fair enough.
It's cooked.
Yeah, he's cooked and served. He's out of here. Lucas, hello, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
All right, so I had a question. You bring up rape, child rape, a lot. Do you think a child that's been raped will go on to forever have a bad life?
Some of them will, some of them won't.
Some of them will, some of them won't, right? So, you plan to unite all these people, make this control everyone and then wipe everyone out, right? Wouldn't it be more valuable to control everyone and then educate everyone properly so no one would ever want to rape? Because you have to agree that people that go on to do
that's just
horrific
one
things-
example, right? That doesn't solve all suffering.
All suffering isn't bad though, right? You stated that before.
Well, it all has the potential to be bad, so.
Okay, but all life has the potential to be good as well. Shouldn't we value that?
No, not because it's not worth it if it goes wrong.
Okay, so bad suffering, things like murder, things like rape, things like torture, those are all like products of either bad education.
And what about terminal cancer? What about terminal brain cancer?
Okay, terminal brain cancer is something that humans are working to solve right now. I feel like that's one of the great things about life is that
Okay,
humans
but
get
again,
together.
let's just take this all the way to the conclusion and be done with it, right? Let's cut to the chase. The thing is that unless you have omniscience, then you will always be in infinite danger. So an infinite risk.
But James, that's what makes life great. The fact that I'm gonna live 80 years and I'm not gonna know if by 50 I'll be dead just means that I can make sure that I can like live every single day, loving every single day.
But that's only for the lucky ones. What about the unlucky ones?
That's not true. Okay, would you say that someone in
That's strike one, Lucas. So
Okay.
what about the
What was the
unlucky
question?
ones?
What was the question? What about the unlucky ones?
Yeah.
You're right. There's a lot of unlucky ones in that. You're completely right about that. And that's why people work to solve things like that.
Yeah, but the thing is, Lucas, is that I explained to you that it's actually impossible to solve that without omniscience, right? And then you said, oh, well, yeah, suffering's good anyway. So, and then I said, well, it's only good for the lucky ones. So what about the unlucky ones? Do you think that it just doesn't matter if they suffer?
Of course not. I think that it completely matters that they suffer, and that's why the lucky
But you've
ones
already
actually work.
agreed that there will always be sufferers until we achieve.
There will always be unlucky ones, and there will always be lucky ones. That's why the lucky.
So do you
ones
think that's
use their
fair?
lives.
Do you think that's fair?
No, life is not fair.
So do you think it's acceptable?
I think that it is acceptable that life isn't fair.
Why?
I feel like that's something that everyone has to come to.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there
Yeah.
any amount of harm or extreme suffering that would justify extinction? What if 99% of the population was begging for death?
Yeah, I think so. But
Okay,
that's not-
and so what if it's 1%? Then you just don't care? Is it that, like, as long as it's a minority that you can oppress them easily, then it's ethical?
Well, no, because if it's 99% of people, then no one can work towards helping 99%. There's not enough people. But
So the thing is, Lucas, when you say helping them, what do you mean?
Cancer research.
So, but the thing is, even if it's 1%, Lucas, you can't always help them, can you?
You can, but even a part of the good people, even a part of the lucky people, there will be people that will always suffer. You say unlucky.
But why is that acceptable? Let me ask you this. Would you have somebody be tortured for their entire life just so that you could continue to live?
Of course not. I would work.
So why should anybody else be allowed to do that?
But that's not what they're doing, James. That's the thing.
Really? You don't think anybody is being tortured to death?
I think a good amount of people are being tortured to death.
So when you said that's not happening to anyone, what the fuck were you talking about?
Well, I didn't say it was not happening to everyone. I said that not everyone. By me living right now,
Lucas, you're lying, right? You're literally going in circles looking for a way out, right? You're being dishonest. You did say, you did
this
say
is
it.
what I believe. If I'm being any dishonest, it might be because you're changing my opinion, or because I'm trying to tell you my opinion better.
So look, if you wouldn't allow somebody to be tortured for their entire life just so that you could have a happy life, why should anybody else be allowed to have a happy life at the expense of somebody, suffering for their entire life?
Because me living right now, I'm not allowing anyone to do anything else because I'm just living my life. Do you understand?
Right, but
look,
no, Lucas, you're saying we should continue the system of some are suffering horrifically so that others can have fun. And you are actively refusing to support the end of all suffering. So no, you can't just say, oh, I'm totally innocent. You're literally saying, yeah, continue the suffering. And yeah, I won't lift a finger to stop it. So you're not innocent at all.
Okay, James, but if the system was made to let people suffer, I would agree with you, except we have multiple systems that try to alleviate that. And just because...
But Lucas, what if it goes wrong? Do you just not care if it goes wrong?
That's a risk of life, James. It's not worth
That's
it
not
to
an argument. That's not an
everyone.
that you're admitting that you have no thought behind this, right? That there's no actual reasoning going on behind your eyes. That's just life is like saying, I have no brain, right? It's the exact same thing.
James, you have to stop insulting your guests. It's not
Lucas,
productive.
that is also another appeal to escape from debating, right? Instead of being like, oh, I've got something really good to say here logically, right? He's like, oh, you're being mean. No, you're being brainless, right? Completely brainless. Oh, that's just life. You really might as well just be saying, I have no brain at all, right? Oh, that's just the way it is. I'm just a complete idiot. It's the same thing. It's the same sentence, right? The exact same meaning. Oh, should we abolish child abuse? That's just the way it is. That's just life. It's the same as saying, I have no brain. I'm not able to have an opinion on this. Okay?
It's like being like nature, indifferent. There is no brain behind nature, so they are just being like nature. They aren't using their brains to see the reality of this life. They just let it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's descerebrado. That's brainless in Spanish. Okay, so yeah, again, that's just life is not an argument, right? That's literally the opposite of an argument. If you say things like, oh, that's just life, that's just the way it is, then you might as well be saying you're right and I'm wrong. Hello, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
I wanted to talk about how do you believe there's an afterlife?
No.
Do you believe that there is 100% certainty that there wouldn't be an afterlife?
No.
So with that being said, regardless of any afterlife being good or bad, it would be uneducated with your opinion right now to say that mass extinction, right? People wouldn't go to like some afterlife where
Well, the thing is,
they have more
if you believe in
suffering.
hell, then extinction is the right thing to do, so that you don't have more people growing up and then going to hell.
In what way? What do you like? What?
Look, if this is a factory producing victims for hell, then we should shut down the factory.
Mass extinction for humans or also animals as well?
Total, not mass, right? Mass doesn't imply total, so we need total animal extinction. Total human extinction, universe-wide extinction.
Now, practically, how would that be possible at all when there's a greater chance of life finding a way through that as opposed to...
So you think that the chances of life going extinct is much higher if we don't try to make it go extinct?
No. Good. Like, sorry, I don't understand what you said. Can you say that again in a better way?
So are you suggesting that trying to cause extinction would be counterproductive to extinction?
No, I'm saying that regardless, there is not 100% certainty in anything, actually.
Yeah. So let me ask you
with that
this:
being said,
if a
mass
child,
extinction.
let me ask you this: if a child was being raped in front of you, would you require 100% certainty to try and help them?
How would I require 100% certainty?
I'm asking you. So you're saying, oh, try and do the right thing and end all suffering. I'll only do that if we have 100% certainty. So would you apply that same logic to just something obvious, like a child asking for help?
I'll try to, but it's not 100% certain in anything.
Yeah, exactly. So the same applies to extinction, right? The idea that you need to be 100% certain that it's going to work, that's a cop-out, basically. It's not a real reason. It's not a real thing.
So, in terms of suffering, I also wanted to touch on this, what you said. How many people do you think are suffering, and how many people do you think are...
It doesn't matter. Honestly, even if nobody was suffering, we would still do extinction, right? In case there's suffering in the future.
In case there's suffering in the future. Okay.
Exactly.
So, that's actually like a very...
responsible mentality, right? To make sure there is no suffering.
No, I was going to use insane, honestly.
So you think allowing suffering is sane?
Well,
who's insane now?
Honestly, yeah. You know?
What? So you think it's sane to allow child abuse? You think that's, yeah, who cares? Child abuse?
In what way? Not every piece of suffering, but I feel like there are...
What?
To be honest, extinction entirely, regardless of whether whatever you cut it, means that they're going to suffer at some point in time, right?
So you think that preventing suffering causes the same amount of suffering, or what do you think has more suffering?
A child,
suffering,
a child being raped, right? A child being raped, right, in front of me, right, and I had a choice to shoot them in the head and stop their, I guess, suffering.
That's different. It's completely
or
different.
That couldn't be different, could it? That is actually the exact analogy that you're saying.
Okay, well then yeah, we would shoot them in the head.
Wow. Okay, that's good to know that you think like that.
But the thing is that we need more humans until we do.
As opposed to, okay, you have two choices, right? Sorry, that was a bad or a worse analogy than what I have in mind now. You have a child in front of you, right? They're being raped. You have a choice. You can kill them and shoot them in the head right then and there, or you can go up to them and actually stop that raping.
So here's what's going to happen.
Allow them to live longer.
Yeah. Here's what's going to happen if you don't shoot the child in the head, right? Yeah, there's a chance it will go on to have a good life, but there's also a chance it will go on to have the worst life ever lived with the most pain ever felt. So yeah, preventing that is better, right? It's better to prevent
But
extreme
wouldn't that
suffering, even if it prevents a bit of happiness.
so 50-50 is what you're saying?
What's that?
So it would be 50-50, which would mean that's not a good argument to use.
What do you mean 50-50? I'm not. What's 50?
As in, you said that there's in this situation, there's a 50% chance that the child is going to go on to live a good life, and then a 50% chance it's going to live a bad life. So it's better to end its suffering so it doesn't have that 50% chance. That's not really something that's logical, because
Really?
you're appealing
Really?
you're appealing to a half. You're
Really?
appealing to a half,
Okay.
and not
Well,
looking at the whole.
let's explore this then. So, if would you have somebody be tortured for their entire life just so that somebody else can have a good life?
I don't believe in equilibrium,
So
like
let's say
societal
let's say there's
equilibrium.
2 children being abused, right? And we know that one will have a good life and one will have a horrifically terrible life. So yeah, and if the only option is to put both of them down to prevent one of them having a terrible life, then yeah, it's the right thing to do.
Okay, sorry, am I lagging?
No, well, seem okay.
Okay, good. What? So, with that being said, wouldn't it be better to offer that child, that's going to live that horrible, horrible life? Not going to. Okay, I see what you mean. Going to.
Absolutely going to.
I feel like we should all have a. I feel like in your defense, we should have all have a choice, on whether or not to,
And how does that apply
end our
to
lives and end our suffering, right?
that's a fantasy that you would be crazy to believe in, right? The idea that we can have euthanasia as the solution to suffering is ridiculous, right? Because firstly, you're suggesting that people have to be tortured for their entire life and then killed. That's not fair. That's not ethical. And secondly, you're suggesting that babies can commit suicide, children can do it, the incapacitated can do it, the anxious can do it,
The animals.
animals can do it. So the reality is that those that can actually take their own lives is like 1% of the population or something. So this is not a solution
1%.
that
That's definitely not 1%, but
yeah,
sure.
it's a tiny percentage of the population that can actually take their own lives. Right? Babies can't do it, children can't do it, the incapacitated can't do it, animals can't do it, anxious people can't do it. So you're not making any sense, right? You would essentially apply this rule, which applies to 1%, and then 99% suffers horrifically, and you don't care.
Right.
Yeah, correct. Right?
Well,
yeah,
you're assuming that would be.
Dalen, you should have been saying something like, "This guy knows me better than I know myself." Wow, he read my mind.
I will disconnect now, James. Thank you for having me.
All right, thanks for
Bye.
coming up.
Thank you. Bye.
Hello, how you doing? Scanning human. Hello?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Sorry, I was reading the really logical fallacy reply to my response that I just got and focusing on that instead of that you got me up here. I apologize. That's completely my fault.
Typical.
Yes, indeed. So I've noticed there's like a lot of really good. My thing is, I actually agree with pretty much all of your points. I just think that you make them in very poor ways. Because the whole time that you're sitting here making a lot of these points, I agree with a lot of it, right? The idea that we shouldn't perhaps kill people preemptively to end suffering that we can predict. I agree with that. As soon as they said, so the kind of analogy would be to shoot the child in the head because they're suffering. Yes, that obviously makes sense because we just saw that the first 2 cases of people being euthanized for mental health are because they were raped and the trauma that it caused, they couldn't live with it, right? So that really does prove your point. But do you think you kind of bully and intimidate stupid people to run over them instead of hearing their point a little bit?
Yeah.
Do you think that's like a good way to communicate with people?
It's not ideal, but it's the only way that we have.
I don't know that that's true. I
Well,
think that, I mean,
there's complications which actually make it true. But
I mean,
you're
obviously, I
welcome to
agree.
start doing activism and prove me wrong, though.
I obviously agree a little bit because, like I said, I tried to make this point, and the response is like, don't have children then, as though that's relevant or really has anything to do with it. And I mean, obviously, people can't critically think well, and we can agree with that, I think. But I do wonder about the animals. I wish they weren't, getting dragged down. Go and do some cocktails. But I mean, I just think
suffer too. Animals suffer too. So we shouldn't let them suffer.
Well, yeah, I was having this conversation the other day. I mean, we do these horrible things, and humans do admittedly kind of ruin everything. We domesticate animals, and then when they aren't cute anymore, like what we did to pigeons, then we turn them loose and they can't survive anymore. And that's our fault. Like, we hurt the planet much more than we do anything actually good, and we're kind of self-destructing.
It's ironically, actually the opposite of that. So human existence has actually only reduced suffering on the planet, because as we destroy habitat and chop down forests, the net reduction in life being born and suffering terribly is gigantic. So, for example, 50% of the habitable surface of the planet is used for agriculture instead of forests and wild animal suffering. So the more humanity takes over the planet, the less suffering there is on the planet. Even if it looks like we're causing more suffering, the thing is that nobody actually considers wild animals, who are 100 quintillion in number each year. So they are the vast majority, and they have the worst conditions with the most suffering. And so by knocking down their forests and places where they're forced to suffer, humanity's existence has actually only ever reduced suffering on the planet. And we're also the only ones that can end all suffering as well. So we have to start seeing humans as the solution and not the problem, basically.
So how are we doing this? What's the methodology here?
So we're growing the movement with peaceful activism, the pro-extinction movement, until we have enough people to take over the world, start to run it ethically, and start to do animal extinction, research how life develops in the world and how to prevent it, and then try and prevent it for as much of the world as possible. So a sterile Earth, potentially, and basically working towards a universe with no life and no possibility of life ever again. Now, if we can only do Earth, then we will. But if we can do beyond it, then we should.
Yeah, but again, how? Like, what's the plan?
Well, for animals, we can start euthanizing them the second we take power, basically. So we can put them to sleep. That's very simple. And we can research more ways to get the rest of the animals, while also researching how to remove our dependence on the animals. So working towards a planet with no animals. And yeah, then we just do the science to figure out how to, make the world uninhabitable.
Okay. I don't actually have any more disagreement. I kind of agree. If that's how we're like using our resources, is to research how to get rid of everybody, I think maybe we should. It doesn't seem like we're evolving well, I don't think.
Well, even if we were evolving well, there's still going to be suffering. So to make sure that not even one person suffers, extinction will always be the right thing, no matter how good life is, right? So for some people, they're like, oh, I feel depressed today. You know what? I support total extinction. And then you got some people that are like, oh, if life was slightly better, then I wouldn't support total extinction, even if other people are still suffering badly. So, our policy is nobody deserves to suffer. Even one victim is too many, and there's no amount of improving conditions that will ever make us stop caring about the victims or potential victims. Okay, thank you for coming up.
Thanks.
And I'm going to call it there for today, guys. It's been a pretty good show. So thank you, everyone, for coming up. And thank you for all the debates. I've had a lot of fun today, and I'll be streaming again tomorrow. So yeah, wait for me tomorrow. And yeah, check out my recent videos. If you have any questions, you can message me directly on TikTok. And read our website, proextinction.com. It has an incredible amount of information on it. It will probably answer every question you have. We have a comprehensive FAQ, and you can join the Discord or the WhatsApp group through the links on the website, and you can become an activist. Start making videos, and grow the pro-extinction movement, whether it's simple videos saying, we can't allow bad lives anymore. Join the pro-extinction movement, proextinction.com. Even something as simple as that is really effective activism, and you can work your way up to bigger and better videos. So become an activist, start making videos, grow the movement, get on board, help us work towards total extinction for all life. All right, cheers everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.